Hello and welcome everyone at the FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament Pool B. Today we have a tiebreaks, the day that we were looking forward and the day where we're going to have a lot of fun. We're your commentators, Grandmaster Arturs Neiksans and Women Grandmaster Keti Tsatsalashvili.
Welcome, Keti, and everybody else who is watching this. We have come to the very first tiebreaks of the FIDE Women Candidates Pool B tournament. Today, Katerina Lagno against Anžanki. Very exciting day ahead, Keti. And I'm totally looking towards this, and I do believe we have something like 8 minutes until the start of the games. So perhaps, Keti, we could talk about what is the format of the tiebreaks.
That's very interesting, Arthur. And today we're going to have 4 games of the tiebreaks. Time will be 15 minutes plus 10 seconds only. So this is a big of change, right? We have 1 hour and 30 minutes for each players before in the classical portion. Now we're going to have only 15 minutes and 10 seconds. That's not too much. That's why it's a rapid segment of the tournament. Well, what happens if it's a tie, Arthur? Like, what happens if 2-2?
Yeah, in case there's a 2-2, we are going to have blitz games, 5 minutes plus 3 seconds, 2 blitz games, because obviously if the rapid game doesn't figure out who is the winner, you need to shorten the time control. But here's the interesting part, Keti. If there's the still tie 1-1, either player wins or it's 2 draws, then we move on to the segment of blitz games, 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. And here there is no Armageddon. Simply put, the first player to win this first blitz game of 3 minutes plus 2 seconds wins the entire match.
That is right. So not Armageddon, which is another part of the chess to be excited, but instead of that, we're going to have unlimited games. This match can go forever and never end. But I don't know, what's our prediction, Arthur? Have these players played before the rapid or blitz segment? So if we know the score, maybe we can define who's the leader.
They have it. That's a very good question, Keti, because I checked what he have done before. Obviously, Katerina Lagno has played against Anžanki many times before. And here's the fact. In the previous games, they have played, how many was it? 13 games in Rapid and Blitz in total. And Katerina Lagno leads with a stunning 11-2. So 2 Rapid games, 2-0 for Katerina Lagno. 9 Blitz games, 9-2, including 8 victories in a row for the Russian player. So it's absolutely incredible. I mean, they seem to be more or less about the same strength, but when it comes to the accelerated time controls, it is Katerina Lagno. She's the 3-time World Blitz champion. She is the not the previous one, but she used to be the World Rapid champion. Very good at accelerated time controls, Keti.
That's right. Let's go inside to the playing venue. We can see right now Katerina Lagno just arrived at the board. She's adjusting the pieces, getting ready. This is 5 minutes before the game, so she's the first player who goes there. Anžanki is still not at the table. Probably she will wait for a bit to arrive, and we can see here cameras as well focusing on Katerina Lagno. Very important match, and this is a knockout system, guys. The tournament itself has very exciting format, and this happens for the first time at the candidates tournament, where the group is divided into 2 parts, A group and B group. A group has happened a few months ago, just 1 month ago, and we have a winner of the group, Neiksans, who is waiting for the winner of the Pool B, which is just happening, and then winner of Pool A and winner of Pool B gonna face each other in the finals. And after that, we're gonna define who is the challenger of the current women world champion, Ju Wen-jun, who is keeping her crown for already several years. A lot of tension right now in this small room, I'm sure. And Arthur, besides this game here, we already have Goryachkina Alexandra, who will go into the round 2.
And she has an extra rest day, which is probably good for her. She can use this extra day to gather some extra information against her opponent. Here we see the players are already arrived on the board. That's Tanjanki here. And we are going to have a special guest who is going to make the very first move. Who is it, Keti?
Oh, that's a very interesting fact itself, that every day we have a special guest coming here. We had already so far 4 special guests, and today we're going to have Al-Susi Rajai, who is a representative of Sharjah Chess Club. Sharjah Chess Club is the chess club in UAE which organizes a lot of events for women, for men, and for kids as well. So we're going to have him here arriving on the board right now. We can see him on the screen greeting the players, and he will make the first ceremonial move.
What could be potentially the worst move he could play? I mean, is it? I guess it's G4, right? I mean, I haven't even seen anybody playing it. Normally, it's something like E4, D4. I think even I saw somebody pushing the A pawn. But like, yeah, of course.
A pawn is the closest, in the edge of the board, so that's more practical move indeed. And here we have the photo has been made. The move gonna happen in 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes, Artur. So let's take a look at the highlight, which has been prepared for you guys, and we will be back soon after a few seconds. And we're here back. There was a beautiful video captures which got so much emotion in one video, and we had the possibility to see it. They are waiting the arbiter to announce to start the clocks. This is very tough moments for all the players. Seconds before they start, Artur, will Tanjangi play 1d4 as she usually does?
I don't really know because, of course, yeah, I think we saw the queen's pawn moving forward. D4, D5 played very, very quickly here. So difficult to tell how. I mean, do you have to play your regular opening preparation? But I think we already slightly discussed it previously, Keti, is that the best players in the world, they tend to have a slightly different repertoire for the accelerated time controls. And usually it has something to do with the easiness to play. So Queen A4, this is actually repetition of game number 3. But Queen A4 was not played on the board, was it?
No, it was Bishop to G5, and we had slightly edge for Tanjangi in the opening. However, the game turned the table, and Katerina Lagno had the extra pawn in the rook endgame. I wanted to ask if we're going to have another points gambit accepted, but before I ask the question, they played so fast these moves that we see now the gambit was accepted one more time by Katerina Lagno. However, Tanjangi choose another option here, and she plays right away queen to a4 to pin the knight on c6 and potentially to grab the pawn on c4 with the queen. That's another option too. You can also take this pawn with the bishop. So she is now waiting Katerina Lagno to make her decision and play next move.
Yeah, so maybe very quickly while here Katerina is thinking here after knight c3 d takes on c4. Last time they continued, what was it? It was bishop e4, bishop b4, bishop g5, h6. I'm doing this from memory, really. Takes, bishop c4, c5, and this led to this very interesting debates, right? Knight
It was
b5,
very
where,
interesting indeed, yes.
where Tan Zhongyi had a very, very nice pressure in the game. And apparently, it's not a big surprise that Katerina has made her homework. Of course, she's ready this time. And Queen f4 check. That's why here the Chinese grandmaster tried to surprise. She's not going to go for the same line. And a3, bishop d7, queen x on c4 are played on the board. And white is looking towards to play e4 and grab the center.
That's right. Usually we don't play very early queen moves, either it's a Scandinavian, because this queen can be under the attack and you're going to lose a lot of tempi for that. But it's because of this maneuvering here, white can grab the center, some space advantage in the center. Then when you have a strong center, your pieces can develop way better. So I wonder what is here Black's choice of the continuation. Is she going to play bishop d6, e5? Is she just wait for whites to control the center and play bishop e7 and castle, and then try to push c-pawn forward? That's the options that Black have here. But Artur, before we receive here the moves, we have our chat on YouTube, our chat on Twitch, and I would like to ask to our viewers who you guys are supporting. Are you supporting Katerina Lagno? Are you supporting Tan Zhongyi? Please let us know.
Yeah, so I do believe there's many fans for both players who would like them to succeed. And I'm pretty sure that Tan Zhongyi is well aware of the previous record head-to-head, right? She knows that Katerina Lagno has been doing better in the previous games. However, all of that does not matter, because all that matters how they play here today. And a lot of things affect your performances. How do you feel today? How well you slept? I mean, how are you? What's your mood from the previous games? So the score is still 0-0. And the fact that Lagno has been doing really so well in the previous games today does mean anything. It just tells who is probably the favorite on the paper.
That is right. It's just the statistics. And after all, today, what you just mentioned, all of these things are the key points when it comes to the chess games. A lot of nerves are played here. So bishop to g5, once again we have this move, and this time Tan Zhongyi did not capture the knight on f6 because it makes no sense, as white anyway gets the center control here, and you don't need to give up your dark square bishop to play e4. You can just play bishop to h4, pin this knight, keep the pin, and then e4 will be even stronger because you want to play e5 next move.
And also I would like to mention here for a moment, after queen x on c4, the way I see it here, Black has to do one of the two major choices. Either go bishop d6, e5, which was played in the game by Lagno, it makes most sense. Otherwise, this bishop on d7 is looking really sad. Or push c5. However, with the knight on c6 already, I find it to be quite difficult to achieve, because knight a5, c5, your knight on a5 is slightly stranded. So Katerina here went for the most natural response. Bishop g5, of course, makes sense to pin this. Bishop h4, and here Lagno has to figure out what she has in the store against the threat e4 and possibly even e5.
That is right. What I've seen here quite often in this kind of structure, there is g5 move to unpin the knight, kick this bishop on g3, and then prepare somehow g4 and push all the white pieces backwards. But now Katerina chose a different approach. She just castled. After castle, g5 looks a little bit loose to push the pawns on the king side and weaken your king. So she's ready to respond e4 with the e5.
Yeah, and this could actually lead to some fireworks here, Keti, because I see the first idea which jumps to my mind, probably not going to happen, because after e4, e5, there's knight e5 move, and I see this very dangerous spin off the h4, diagonal, so I must assume that Katerina is ready to meet it with g5, and of course here you start to calculate, ladies and gentlemen. Knight x on g5, knight x on d5, what is this? Is this even playable? Because I could go back knight f3 and a huge mess starts up here on the board. Is this practical?
And I don't even know whose king is the weakest here. The king on g8, which is exposed, or the king on e1, which is in the center, not even castle. So this is a complete mess. I wonder if Katia is going to play e5. She can start with g5 here, which can be met by knight to g5 as well. You could just go for the sacrifice and then play for the kingside attack like h4, rook h3, or castle, rook d3, rook g3, and stuff like this. So a lot of ideas here after g5. I would be scared if I was black.
Now, I think Katerina is not going to play g5 because that is a very dangerous move. For example, g5, bishop g3, white is going to castle, long h4, go for some kingside attack, and white's attack looks pretty strong. I do believe she's right now calculating e5. This is a very, very big decision. After e5, she has to make sure she has a proper response to knight e5. She has to make sure what she does after the long castle, because the spin is so dangerous, and at every given moment she has to watch out for this g5, knight g5, bishop g5 idea, and the clock is ticking.
That is right. Once again, let's remind our viewers that we have 15 minutes plus 10 seconds only. And out of this time, Katerina Lagno has already invested 5 minutes for this position. And we can see that Tan Zhongyi has very nice time management for the first game.
Yep. So e5. I would definitely try to make it work. Bishop e7, Keti, here is a bit passive. Queen e8 allows you to ruin the pawn structures, so I think that Katerina is well taught not to play bishop e7. Of course, e5 is played, and after e5, immediately a response by the Chinese Grandmaster here. She plays d5, closes the position. I guess knight e5 was not working.
Seems like it might be the home preparation, because this is kind of like starting position when you play this kind of opening. You definitely get this position, and so I believe she had this prepared already, and she blitzed out d5 move while she had this knight e5 very nice opportunity. So she knows what she's doing. Let's trust her. Now knight is hanging on c6. So if the knight goes on e7, then
I think so.
drop the knight on f6, and you have to ruin your pawn structure. You have to be ready for this kind of challenges with black, because double pawns on the king side is no fun, as your king is so much exposed that white can find a way to attack this king.
Yeah, this could lead actually to a very double-edged game. Of course, I see these dangerous double pawns, and I see the black king has weakened, but black has the dark square bishop, which maybe in the future could take care of some of the dark squares in the center. So here Katerina has to make a very big decision. She sees if white is not going to take on f6, the knight on g6 is going to stand perfectly. Knight b8, Keti, feels a bit slow, but it doesn't mean it's not playable. So, for example, after knight b8 here, let me show it to you. There could be moves like queen b3, a bit annoying, gathering some pressure against the pawn on b7. And then after b6, bishop b5, white still has the pressure here. Black might not have the time to play knight e7. So my gut feeling here is that she should go for knight e7, allow taking on f6, and there's going to be a total chaos on the board.
I agree. There's a third move to knight to a5, which can also be played. However, this knight on a5 looks a little bit loose. She goes there, though. She goes there, and Tan Zhongyi is blitzing out another move, and she plays queen to d3. Well, the knight on a5 looks really restricted. However, there is one square still on b3 that this knight can go. So definitely after b4, this knight is not trapped for the moment. However, b4 is still a move white can consider, because after knight to b3, rook b1, you have to give up the pawn with the knight d4 maneuvering.
Knight b3 played, check to the white rook. Where do you go? So the black rook is getting to c5, possibly to d4 as well. Actually, I missed this knight a5 idea completely, because knight b3 is a very nice follow-up here. Rook d1. White makes sure black cannot easily play c6, because the bishop on d6 is going to be under attack. Knight c5 is pretty easy move to make. Or there could be some other active moves as well at black's disposal. Think about ideas like a5, a4 perhaps, but I have a feeling black really needs to play the c6 idea at some point.
That's right. So we have a5 here, which was played by Katerina, and I kind of feeling that all the moves, knight on b3, pawn on a5, possibly pawn on a4, controls fully on the queen side, and center is closed, king side is a little bit low to be attacked, and kind of have a feeling that black just stabilized the game.
Right. So Katerina is trying to increase the pace. She feels the pressure. And Tan Zhongyi is just unstoppable. She's just firing these moves one after another. I mean, look at the clock, Keti. 50 minutes and 32 seconds. Tan Zhongyi has more time at move 50 than she started the game with. So remember, dear viewers, the time control is 50 minutes plus 10 seconds. This is the time that you get on the starting clock. Now she has 20 seconds more. She's just not thinking. She's showing the knowledge.
Yeah, that's very interesting. She's going to flag Katerina Lachner. Is that her strategy to gain some time advantage? The position is equal. She did not get too much in the opening. To be fair, black is just fine. However, black is just investing too much of the time here. And it seems like white is more relaxed to play next move, and the black is the one who tries to find some way to get advantage. Well, I do like this move c6, but right now the bishop on d6 is hanging. So Katerina, I believe, played a4 to make sure that knight on b3 is well guarded. And is she going to play next move something like bishop to c5 to get this bishop on the long diagonal with ideas knight to d4, bishop d4, and then at some point to strike in the center with c6?
Yeah, that is definitely an option. I think that black would have to protect the bishop on d6, either remove it or play rook d8 to make it happen. Also, Keti, I'm thinking about if Katerina is gonna gather the courage to play g5, but g5 is such a responsible move. Once again, let's say here finally Tan Zhongyi is thinking, let's say she plays something like king h1. Black always needs to watch out for this sacrifice. Bishop g5, and now this knight on g7 is quite difficult to protect. King g7, f4 at some point could be a killer because the rook on f1 is ready to make a pin, although specifically here, I do believe black is
just fine because of the dark square bishop. Yeah, maybe f4 is a bit too fast at this point. There is also ideas of queen to g3 to kind of annoy the black's king. There's also idea of queen f3 to pin the knight on f6. But after that, white needs a follow-up and white needs another piece to be into the game. And on the other hand, if this is working, if g5 is working and then g4 is working, knight will get perfect square on d4. And there's going to be an octopus knight that we know that those knights in the center are extremely strong.
And I think that she's going to have to play it at some point, unless I'm terribly mistaken, because it's so annoying to have this pin. And that's why Katerina is going to make sure she can play this g5 better earlier than later. So h3 is played. I think that g5 is a very, very big moment here, because if white cannot sacrifice the bishop on the knight on g5, plays bishop g3, black has solved the problem of the pin. And this knight could join the game, knight h5, knight f4, maybe through the g6 square, and possibly go aggressive at the king side. But no, rook a5 is on the board.
Whoa, rook a5, where the rook is leading. Whoa, that's interesting. That's interesting. Rook lift. Perhaps she's looking for c6 pawn one way or another, and then rook on d5 also keeps the eye on the d5 square. And white felt that this is a moment to play knight to d2 to get rid of the b3 knight. My question is, what happens after knight d4 if black just decides not to trade? Knight to d4, knight to c4.
I'm not sure I understand getting rook a5 really. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of this move? Of course, it looks really cool, right? You bring the rook in the game, but where's it going? Is it really going to c5? Is there some pressure against the pawn on d5? Maybe the idea was to play b5, b4, protect the pawn on b5 just in case. And indeed, knight e2 and knight e4 has been played right now. Can we play f4? F4 is a possibility because the knight seemingly is under attack, but f4, Keti, is taken.
Oh, look at this. You take in bishop c5, rook a5. We found the reason why rook to a5.
But there's also the queen. I'm not really sure I understand it.
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
Rook there you go, rook
has
c5.
Happened.
Wow. I mean, the rook goes to c5. Well, you have to give style points to Katerina Lagno for putting the rook on c5, because I would be a bit concerned. I mean, putting my rook on c5, because there could be one shot on the rook and it has literally nowhere to go. Think about ideas like f3, bishop f2, this rook is attacked and you might have to sacrifice it, but Katerina maybe is ready to do at some point, and f4, things are starting to blow up in the center.
Whoa. So now rook is on c5, c5 square is occupied, and she's going with f4. If a file is open, then knight on f6 will be a weakest spot of the black's side. And this is the point when you might feel that there can be some kind of tactical motives. Take on f4 and after queen to d4 to get this rook somewhere, like rook d5, bishop c5 ideas. And this is the moment where Katerina will take at least 2-3 minutes to think.
Yeah, very, very sharp position. Of course, now she has to calculate very quickly what happens. E takes queen d4. Can she make work this bishop c5 idea somehow? If not, what does she do here? Does she include knight takes on e2, takes on f4? What happens with the e5 threat? Very, very tough choice. Let's try to make it work. Let's say knight e2. What do you do here, Keti? I guess take with the queen, right?
You have to take with the queen, otherwise you drop the e4 pawn at some point. And she goes for knight to e2. And then...
Oh, e5, this is a very big moment. What happens now? And knight e2 is on the board.
Not even thinking. This is incredible. This is incredible speed. And she's just blitzing out all the moves here.
Maybe sacrifice the exchange on c4. I think this is her minimal program, as I would like to call it, so that there's no pressure against the pawn on e5. Take on c4, take on f4, play g5 next, and you have a very solid position. And in accelerated time controls, maybe that's what you need. Let me show it to you. Takes, take on f4. There's no e5 threat. There's the g5 threat. And black's pieces are really well coordinated. The white king is slightly vulnerable. Is she going to go for this?
That's indeed a choice. Did she play e takes f4 right away?
She is thinking. She's still thinking. I mean, maybe she can take on f4 first, then after e5, take on c4. Maybe that is even an improved idea.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at that. Like take on f4, e5, take the rook on c4. If you take f6 or d6, I will trade the queens. We go to the end game. I feel safer there. If you take my rook now, then I'm going to take another pawn on e5.
Yeah, but I could take on f6 first. What is this? All right, the e takes on f4 is on the board. I don't know what is this. It's a huge mess. You got to play e5.
Well, wow. Tanjangi is taking her time to think in here. Interesting. This is incredible. Who would imagine the first game would go in this way? And personally, I thought expect to be more like solid game, nothing too much, draw, and this game could go to the blitz segment. But I think if they are keeping up this pace, we're going to have the match ending in the rapid section.
But Keti, I don't like the decision-making speed of Tanjanki, to be honest. Let me tell you here, rook d8, she had so much time on the clock. And this is such a big choice. And she played it so fast. Instead of like, what was it? 1 minute? Maybe less? f4, this is leading to huge complications. You have still 12 minutes on the clock. So I think it was a good idea to invest a couple of minutes here. Try to think, right? Maybe it's the right idea. But having such a huge lead on the clock, making such a very big decision f4, you want to make sure you are getting right at the end of the complications. And maybe here after e takes on f4, this is already slightly the wrong time to think, because Katerina apparently has already figured out that after e5 she has a good response, which is, I don't know, probably rook takes on c4.
But for you, bishop f6 was something that we found it very exciting in that case. It can be bishop c5 check first. There are some ideas. There are some ideas indeed. And yeah, this is the moment Tanjangi started to think. Bishop f6 has happened right away.
Immediately.
Interesting. So after queen to f6, her idea is to take on d6 and then somehow get the f4 pawn, one thing, or just push the e5 right away.
This is smart. Actually, she is postponing the idea e5. She doesn't have to play it all the time because, for example, now after g takes on f6, she could actually take on d6 and simply aim for the positional game. Think about queen f2, queen h4, rook f4, rook f1. Great choice by Tanjanki. I'm not sure if that was intended. So probably queen f6. But wait, what happens after e5?
e5 is the move. Yeah, this is good, and you don't have time for rook c4 here. Queen and the bishop are under attack. If you give up your bishop, I will take with a knight or with a queen. Also, when the bishop on d7 is hanging. Lachno decided to take with the g pawn. She admitted that queen f6 was not good, and she has to give up the king side structure, which is obviously not the greatest option.
I'm not sure I like this because if I have a little time here, right, of course, queen d6 is played here. I have a feeling that white is already doing really great. Queen d6, queen h5 is played on the board. But very quickly, I just wanted to show, is this so clear? Because after e5, Keti, I saw rook e8. Is this working?
Can I take the queen?
Yeah, you take the queen, I take on e2, knight e2, and rook takes on c4. I still sacrificed exchange for, what is it? I mean, one pawn at least, right? I have two bishops. I had a feeling this is looking incredibly interesting, but I think that Lagno is simply running out of time. And that's why she accepted this position where it seems now it's white who is playing for the win, because queen h4, queen f4, white wins back the pawn, and the pawn on f6 is still a major target.
That's right. Now, if white takes on h6, that's Lachno's idea to play queen to g5 and force white to trade the queen, and then pawn comes on g5, f1 pawn is guarded. So queen h4 here makes a lot of sense to take on f4 with a rook and not make black's pawn look any better here. And endgame would be a little bit miserable here for black with this bishop against a knight on c3, which is very strong.
Right. So once again here, the idea of queen h6 here, I don't think this is going to happen unless there's a forced continuation. Oh, wait, actually it could happen. Because after queen g5, f takes on g5, either I play h4 or I play e5 with the idea to meet the next move, knight e4, knight f6, knight g5. So that's why here, of course, you want to calculate it very precisely. Are you winning this pawn on g5, f4 by force?
Well, that's a very interesting question indeed. Here after h4, maybe there's rook to e8 and white pawns are also too much pushed. Queen e5 has been played. Do we have a move from Tanjangi? No, she's thinking. She has a huge advantage on the clock, 10 minutes. Lachno has 3 minutes. Our chat asks us what's the format of these tie breaks here. I think some of the people just joined us, so let's remind once again, guys, we're going to have 4 games of the rapid segment. This is 15 plus 10, and in case if it's a 2-2 and if they tie the match, then we're going to have 2 games of the blitz, 3 plus 2, and in case if a tie again, then we're going to have extra game, unlimited games until first win. So that's the format for these tie breaks.
Right, so this is game 1. Action only has started. Now Tanjanki has to make a very big decision. Take the pawn on h6, evaluate the consequences, what happened after queen g5. She's trying to calculate as far as she can. I think she might take on h6, but queen h4 looks incredibly tempting as well because it doesn't force the queen trade, and queen h4 is played.
Yeah, queen h4 has been played. Imagine if you take this f1 with the rook and then you play another rook on f1. So this is incredible position for white. Queen g5, also black is asking for a queen trade here. That's the best scenario if you take now on g5 and f takes g5. Black has nothing to worry at all. However, white has here way better choices to play rather than to take the queen out there. Queen f4 has been played.
This is a terrible position for black. I mean, the position is material equality, and look at the position. Black has weaknesses here on f6. Okay, maybe h6 is easier to defend, but the pawn on f6, pawn on c7. Think about moves like rook d4. Think about doubling the rooks, rook d2, rook f2. And I have a feeling black will simply have to give up the pawn on f6 and seek some super activity. b5, b4, rook b8 would be something on top of my mind.
Yeah, king to g7 has played in queen f2. White withdraw this queen back on f2. There is this move bishop to h3, which looks really tempting to be played after queen f2, because the rook is hanging on c5, but you are going to drop the pawn on g2 with a checkmate. However, after bishop h3, here rook d3 or king h1 will lose a piece. So black is just patient here and plays rook to c4.
Major move by Tanjanki. She correctly senses the black is so weak that she wants to keep the queens on the board. Despite the fact that the pawn at f6 is weak, she says, I had the rook d3 and rook g3 idea here. Now, black is definitely stopping. Rook c4 is played. Rook d3 winning the queen threat. Queen a5. Katerina is barely holding this together, because now after rook f3 she is already offering the queen trade, queen d4. Just allow me to live for a while, but I'm going to give you the pawn on f6. At least we trade the queens.
That's right, and it just makes me feel maybe king h1 here makes a lot of sense to get rid of any type of queen trades here, then to play rook to g3, kick this king from defending f6 square, and then also get the rook on f3. Artur, if white managed to get this knight into the game somehow, even with the cost of giving up the e4 pawn, that's going to be an extra piece on the king side, and maybe white can start to create some kind of mating nets.
Right. The position looks so good for white. I like the idea, Keti, that you suggest a king h1, keep more attention on the board. This is the moment when Katerina is trying to use every single second that she can, use the time of the opponent, because she's down on the clock. She has a terrible position. She knows she has misplayed it. No time to think where the mistake was made, and she already is preparing a response. King h1, of course, is played. You want to keep the attacking chances in the time trouble, and there should be an immediate response for Katerina. But the position is so bad. It's easier said than
what to
done.
respond. Like, I want to play, but what to go now? Because, yeah, it's not so obvious what you should play. Maybe rook to f8 to go somewhere, rook to g8 and try to sneak with the king on f8, e7. I don't know. It's not so easy to make such decisions.
I think she just lost. She just lost. I don't see any defense. I mean, rook g3, maybe check, put away the king. Rook f3 check, queen h4. Black is losing the pawn on f6. If you play f5, he takes the 5. White is just up a pawn, having an attack. In the computer language, I'm pretty sure the computer is screaming white is easily winning this, right? I mean, it looks so good. Black has no counterplay here. And maybe Lagno had to trade the queens before, give up the pawn. She missed that moment. And now it's too late.
Well, she just played f5. This is interesting. Let's try to understand, is that the move that still keeps her on the ground, or it's just losing a pawn on f5? Because after rook to g3 check, it takes f5 is simply extra pawn.
Yeah, I think you just take it right away. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, just take the pawn. It's a free pawn, right? It's going to help white. He takes on f5. This was done not out of good life from Lagno. She knows she's in huge trouble. And f5 takes away some pressure at f5, trying to close the rook on f1. I don't know. I mean, maybe f6, bishop e8, bishop f7, try to hold on for a while. But I don't think she's going to hold this.
f6 weakens the g6 square. So rook g3, rook g6 was something horrible for black. So queen f6. Imagine if you have to block the pawn with the queen. That is how so bad is the position here for black. Artur, I'm thinking about rook g3 and rook g4 idea to trade the rook there and then to bring knight on e4. That's the one way. Or if we can find a way to get this knight on e4 that kicks the queen from f6, then f6 comes with a check, which creates a checkmate threats on the king side. So
maybe even rook e3, knight e4, knight g3, knight h5. There's so many interesting ideas. You already said it, Keti, before. You won't include the knight on c3 in the game. So, I mean, white has a very pleasant situation here. She has up a pawn. She has the attack. Black
she
has
6 minutes on the clock.
Right.
D6.
What a performance.
Wow, that's too much. So, okay, let's see. If you take with a pawn, then knight d5 attacks the queen, f6 comes with a check. There's a checkmate. We trust white, there's a checkmate. If you take with a queen, then f6. Oh, you cannot take with a queen because it's a rook on d3.
Right, that's a minor issue, right? So I guess you have to play c6 on d6 or c6, allow white to keep the pass pawn on d6. What an ugly choice here for Katerina, who is already suffering it so low on the clock. Is it c6 on d6 and... Oh, wait, maybe there's queen g3, rook d6. Oh my goodness. This is even stronger.
It is even stronger because the bishop on d7 is hanging, the pawn on h6. Oh, wow. And after h6, after c6, Artur, in that case, if not take on d6, c6 here to stop knight d5, you have rook g3 check and queen e2. So you attack the rook and you want to play knight e4 next move.
I think Tanjanki is going to do this. She is going to take down Katerina Lagno, the pre-match favorite in the Axel the Time Controls, because if you just joined us, dear viewers, the score, head-to-head score of Katerina Lagno against Tanjanki is a huge advantage for Katerina in the previous games. I even got a comment at the YouTube channel. It's even greater result because I got these results from the chess-based games, but it's not a big secret that Katerina Lagno is one of the strongest female players in the world. She has 3 World Blitz Championship titles. She has been World Rapid Champion. Tanjanki hasn't been doing so well, but like I said, all of that doesn't matter when it comes to the match today.
That's right, and Tanjanki is rocking this game. It's incredible, the speed, how she plays, and the accuracy of the moves. That is amazing. And Artur, you mentioned that this is just a statistics on the score sheet and on the paper, and now another factor plays a lot, and we can see that it is very good start for Tanjanki. Still 3 games to go. Katerina Lagno has to fight back. Starting from this game, this is not over yet, and another 3 games has to be played in the rapid portion. So we just started, and imagine if this is the first round, how interesting it can be other 3 games.
This game is completely over. I think queen g3 does kills the game. Rook d1 idea also looks incredibly strong with the idea to play rook d8, promote the pawn. Lagno had no choice to give up the c pawn in order to try to somehow limit this knight on c3, but now white is simply up 2 pawns. It doesn't matter, the knight on c3 is not doing a thing here. Things are totally over for Katerina in the first game.
That's right. Bishop c6 has been played here to look for g2 pawn, and if somehow some magic happens and white loses the pawn on h3, that can be a magic, but it seems to be magic to me here. That's the only trick I see now. Rook to g8 has been played, attacking on g2 square, but this rook cannot really go too further as back rank is the issue here for black, and the pawn on c7 is out there to be promoted. All right, are we playing here knight to d5 just to make sure that there's nothing happening on this diagonal?
Knight d5 looks secure, but you lose the pawn on c7. So Lagno is doing the best she can. She's trying to confuse white somehow, and I guess the idea is to meet rook d8, rook g2, takes, and black wins this very crucial pawn on c7. So probably this is not going to happen unless white has some very direct win this. So what does she do?
I don't believe.
Yeah, I also don't believe it.
Rook g3 probably is another choice here to eliminate the pressure on g file, and so far the pawn on c7 is also alive.
I think this rook fd1 was a bit slow. Yeah, indeed, rook g3 is played. Rook c8 very quickly responded by Lagno. She realizes nothing is happening at the c file.
Oh, can we play now rook to d8? Rook d8.
But I just take it.
Yeah, you take it, and then I play f6.
So there might be a checkmate, there might not be a checkmate. Yeah, definitely it's a move to consider. Absolutely. Queen b6 would be a very nice way to protect the pawn, except bishop takes on g2, discover check, you can't do this.
Oh no! There's a nice way to lose a game, yeah?
Yeah, you can always find it. Yeah, now for somehow Tanjanki has managed to complicate matters here because again, I do believe there was a simpler way to win this.
Queen e2, rook on c4 is attacked, so she's just delaying the lose of the pawn on c7. Rook to h4. Lagno is a tough opponent here. She's still keeping the eyes on all these spots, G2, H3.
All right, and how do you protect this pawn on C7? Because if black now wins back the pawn on C7, she might live for a moment. Now, white's pieces really are not well coordinated.
True.
Now, I think that the Tanjuki missed the skilling blow a couple of moves ago. Now she has to try to figure out how she is going to deliver this game until the end. 95, not very obvious. If the pawn on C7 falls,
95 is the move she decides to play. What happens if bishop d5, rook d5, and rook to c7? What is her idea then? What she prepared? Oh, probably queen to e8. And the checkmate on g8.
Right. Yeah, this is actually, I think, what we are going to see. So she still has everything under control. And the key factor in this position is the weak black king. Rook c7, queen e8, rook d8, that looks like, or maybe even queen g8 right away. That looks like a checkmate.
Queen g8 is a checkmate. Is there a checkmate after rook to c7 has been played? Queen to e8.
Queen e8, can I try to... No, I can't try it. I mean, I had an idea to give some sort of a check here.
Yes.
Rook takes on h3, with the idea that after g takes on h3, maybe I have some chances for a perpetual check. But to be honest, I don't think there's any perpetual
Unfortunately,
check.
after rook c2, that's the check, or queen to b2, there is rook g2, and that's it. All these squares are controlled by white's pieces. Queen e8 on the board. This can be game over for Katerina Lagno unless there is some miracle sacrifices on the board which saves her.
No, there's no sacrifices. At least I don't see. That's it. So rook c1, rook h3, final tricks. I think the resignation could follow right here. Maybe one or two moves. That's it. Tan Zhongyi has played a great game and proven that it doesn't matter how is your previous score against a very uncomfortable opponent. All that matters what you're doing here today. h5?
h5, freeing this spot on h6 for the king.
Rook d8 is just queen g8, queen h8 checkmate on the board.
Yeah, king is just cut it on the g file. That's the most important stuff here. There's also queen g8, king h6, and rook d6 move. Can we show that?
Yeah, that's really nice. That wins the game on the spot. Oh, sorry, my mistake. What was it? Yeah, rook d6 immediately.
Yeah. If you take queen d6, then queen g7 checkmate.
Beautiful.
But anyways, Tan Zhongyi, with this smooth movement of her, she goes rook to d8, threatens a lot of interesting checks in the checkmate. Queen g8, queen h8 is a checkmate soon. Check.
So Lagno goes for final tricks. Yeah, she's going to sacrifice the rook on h3, but I think that she's going to realize here there's no perpetual check. Rook h3, king h3 would be suicide. Rook h1 checkmate on the board, but of course g takes on h3 is there. She resigns.
She resigns the first game, and this is very important. A victory for Tan Zhongyi, who is playing against Katerina Lagno. Katerina is obviously the leader in to head-to-head matches before that, but that doesn't really matter today. What matters is that Tan Zhongyi scores first win with white pieces.
Yeah, and well, Keti, what a unexpected result, to be honest, because here we go. Here we see the scores. The first game.
Oh, even it was unexpected for our team.
For what?
It's gonna be changed. I think Tan Zhongyi will be given 1 point. We cannot take it away from her. She scored nicely in this game. What a beautiful game so far. What we have seen, I think this game is top 3 out of all the games that we had.
Yeah, maybe let's go back to this moment a little because there's going to be a break of something like 10 minutes. According to the regulations, all the players are giving a rest 10 minutes so that they can gather the thoughts, drink some tea, think of the strategy now for Lagno.
What I've seen in Monaco, Artur, during these 10 minutes, they were consulting with the coaches.
It makes sense, of course. So coach sees what's going on. Maybe from the side, it's better to see that, okay, you need to change that. You need to play faster, Katerina. This is wrong. I mean, improve this, etc. Again, say a lot of positive words because for Lagno, this is also a very unpleasant start. You know, this feeling that she was the favorite before going into the tie breaks definitely was in her head. And now there you go. Tan Zhongyi just demolishes her in the first game. But Keti, let's go back to this critical moment. I'm not sure what really happens here with f4 because, like I already said, I was not very happy with the time management of Tanjaki because she played very, very quickly. And I even think I saw somebody saying in the chat that black is better here. Let's check this out. What was this? So knight e2, queen e2, bishop e takes on f4, and bishop takes on f6. Here was the surprise move.
Bring the chessboard on the screen because now it just has Artur. Okay.
Right. Can I play queen f6? Because I felt this has got to be the critical move here. Now,
all right, we were considering e5 here.
Yeah, e5 has got to be the move, right? And now, what happens after rook e8? I'm really curious. I cannot calculate it so quickly. I mean, I had to like make an assumption here in something like 10 seconds.
I'm liking now knight e4 move. I have not seen this before, but
let's calculate first the obvious moves, right? So
knight e4. Oh, okay.
No. The obvious moves, right? The queen is under attack, we take it.
Okay.
The rook is under attack, we take it. And this is good for black, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have two bishops, you have a pawn.
Something still going on with this two bishop. You never know.
You never know.
Who's
Okay.
better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So after e5, rook e8, I have to calculate the other capture as well. Let's say knight takes on d6. Now, what happens here? I can maybe... wait. Now I lose something. C takes on d6, I snatch on d6, I'm up a rook.
Right.
And if I play here, then there's knight e4. Oh, wait, maybe it's just not working.
And maybe you're losing faster in this case, and that's what Katarina calculated.
I think this is what she saw. So this sequence of f4, very tough to tell. I mean, there's so many moves you have to calculate. There is knight takes on e2 check. There might be rook takes on c4 idea. What about rook takes on c4 idea at some point?
Yeah, I thought it was something like rook c4 here to give up the rook for then bishop c5 ideas.
Yeah, now
maybe bishop c5 right away to create a threat of knight e2, and we don't simplify the position that much.
Right. And if I... Yeah, again, I mean, how do you make this decision, right? Bishop f2 could be a move.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're going to take on f4. Wait, can we go back here, a move? Instead of bishop c5, where was this? Rook c4, queen c4. Can I take it here, or with the queen and take on f4? I try to make this idea work because now I have g5 idea. I have very good bishops here. There's queen e5 idea. This definitely looks quite something.
Yeah, for sure. Lachno had to make different choices as she made at the game. What we were very skeptical is rook a5, rook c5, this fancy maneuvering here, but with so many pieces on the board, seems like this was not so good after all. And Artur, in this case, like knight goes on d4 nicely, but white can totally undermine this knight on d4. And if not rook e5, rook c5, then knight could go on c5, and I thought it was her choice.
You mean here, instead of rook a5, right?
That's right, yeah, knight c5 here, b6. It's just a normal position.
Yeah, this was a bit odd, but I think that she definitely recognized this position from somewhere. It was something she had seen before. The idea to rearrange the rook on c5, with the idea maybe to push b5, b4 something, it was really interesting. And I'm not totally convinced that this f4 works. I guess, of course, everybody who is watching with a chess engine switched on, maybe you can tell it immediately. And I think I already, like I said, I think I saw somebody saying in the chat that this is somehow better for black. But what is the sequence?
I see even farther comments. Very big game for both opponents. I don't know what makes you guys, please, if this is a weak game, then what is strong for you? This is really incredible game to be played at this level with so much of the heavy calculation.
But this was a big mistake. I mean, I don't like it that she did it. This already feels very bad because maybe she simply missed knight e6. She was so focused on the c5 idea, maybe e5, knight e4 idea was in her mind, and now she simply forgot to check what happens if white goes after these pawns. And I'm pretty sure that once Katarina landed in this position, she realized she's in trouble. She realized that.
I agree. Here's the thing that Tanjongi played these moves, like for instance, Bishop F6. You don't consider to have this kind of moves happening, right? Can we go back and see this moment, Knight F6? At this point, Katerina was considering E5, maybe Knight D6 and so on. You don't think that your opponent will give up the bishop for the knight which is pinned, and which is extremely strong move. So very often we're kind of missing in our calculations moves like that.
Yeah, I mean, we can miss. We're commentators. We can miss.
I mean, as a chess players.
Right, but I think her idea was E5, rook takes on C4. Very sharp game, and either way. Now, after the game, of course, everybody's smart, and even we. I mean, also we after the game.
We're always smart, Artur.
Yeah, we are always smart, and we are not sure what was happening here. Very, very interesting game, but this is good news for the viewers, right? Because you see that the games are very exciting, and also maybe this is going to add some spicy things to the match, because the classical section for previous games between these two players that finished in a draw, not always it was the most exciting games, but still very interesting strategic battle. And there you go, such an excitement here in the first game. I'm very, very happy to see that, and I'm pretty sure that this tiebreak is not going to disappoint, and we have more dramas, more action.
No, not at all. That's what I was thinking. If this is our first game, then imagine what can happen in the next 3 games. Artur, here's the thing that about the time situation too. Tanjongi was pressing from the very beginning, and even if according to the engine, Black had okay position or even slightly better position, the time was telling us the different, how Katerina was feeling, and she was feeling pressed. And then to think of 2 games so far that she played Queen's Gambit accepted, do you consider that she will go 3rd time Queen's Gambit accepted again in this match, or she will switch to the other opening?
Yeah, so the question is if she believes in her repertoire, and probably that's the job of her coach, who is there on side, I think, probably. And he has to work right now. I mean, he has to work on these details. I mean, think of the strategy, because Queen A4, Queen C4, A3, definitely Tanjongi was really well prepared, and coach's job is to prepare his employer to perform better next time, and that's why whoever it is, I mean, is working hard right now while they're playing the next game, so that before the next game of the rapid game, he can come up with the solution. Listen, Katerina, you have to do this. You have to do this. Remember, we analyzed this at home, right? I mean, this is where you have to go next time.
Yeah, guys, we have both players on the game. They have arrived. We can see Tanjongi has a cup of something, probably tea or coffee. We don't know that. Grab whatever you like to drink. It's coffee, it's tea, water, because guys, next couple of more minutes, you cannot leave this stream and the commentary, because it's going to be another fireworks on the board. All right, what are we expecting here in this game? Are we going to see Moscow line again from Katerina?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question.
Earlier in the second round, we had a Moscow line with Bishop to B5 from Katerina. Do you think we're going to have that opening again?
I don't know yet, because she's still not in a must-win situation. Of course, she lost the first game, but to remind you, dear viewers, this is a 4-game mini-match, and she's still not in that situation where she has to burn all the bridges. So, Rossalimo, well played. I love this line, Bishop B5. Again, I'm feeling really warm inside when somebody plays Rossalimo, because one of my absolute favorite pet lines, which has been around forever, but it had another boost in popularity in which year was it? 2018 World Championship match of Magnus Carlsen against Fabi Caruana, which was all about the Rossalimo and Sveshnikov. Here, D3 is a rather rare move.
Right. What is the most popular move, if not D3? C3 and D4, is that the setup?
Yeah, while they're playing out the opening, very quickly I'm going to show you. Bishop takes on c6, a very popular move recently, and black has two major choices how to respond after that. After short castle, bishop g7, rook e1 is the old move, but I think the reputation is that after rook e1, e5, black is doing alright. So d3 is definitely some sort of a prep. d3, d6, c3. Look at that. That is pretty slow. Because one of the ideas here, Keti, for white is to play c3 and d4. And black usually counter it with knight f6, rook e1, short castle. And now if white pushes d4, black responds with d5. This is a theory which reputation has. Black is quite easily equalizing the game. So d3, c3 is a bit mysteriously... a mysterious combination to me.
That's right. Like if she wants to play d4 anyway, that might lose the tempo. Knight to f6 delays d4? No, not really. You can still play d4, and if you take the pawn on e4, then d5 perhaps wins something. Does it?
Yeah, and d4 now is played. Okay, this is rather odd. So how does this delay of the move really influence the position? She can play d5 as well. I mean, very quickly, I'm not sure I understand the nuance. All I can take for sure, knight takes on e4 is a bad mistake. Because after d5, a6, it seems the black keeps the piece, but bishop e2 kills the game. Queen a4 check, very nice trap.
Oh, there is very interesting thing also, Artur. Instead of bishop to e2, you can play bishop a4, keep this pin.
Yeah, okay, let's just follow the game, but it does work.
Yeah, oh, you don't wanted me to say a very nice trick that I just find out.
Okay, right?
Bishop a4 here, b5, and bishop to c2, and both of your knights are hanging, and you have to say goodbye one of the knights.
Yeah, but you could do it bishop d3 immediately. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Right, it's indeed nice. So white has three ways to keep the piece, so that's why it didn't happen. Short castle played here. I guess Katerina slightly tricked Tanjan Key. Because what was the sequence again here? The normal sequence. c3, knight f6, rook e1. Oh, my apologies. Rook e1, short castle, d4, d5. But with the short castle and rook e1 included. So I'm not really sure what happens here. If black plays knight f6 and after d4 plays d5. Is this the same? Probably not.
Well, if you lose one tempo here with the d3, I might also lose a tempo with the d6 and go d5. However, this gives white a time move order, right? Artur, do you think white will capture knight on c6 at this point and these pawn structures?
But then you need to have a great follow-up, Keti, because bishop c6, take it, will be great if you could force black to take with the c pawn, but black still play knight x on e4, so probably not, and d5 is played.
Yeah, d5 has been played, knight is under attack. Knight went all the way back on b8, and now we have rook to e1, guarding the pawn on e4.
White is definitely better. I mean, so far, Katerina has managed to trick Tanjan Key, so with this very interesting slow approach, d3, c3, d4, maybe the entire idea of this prep is to trick black into playing the logical move so that after d4, she doesn't have the response of d5. So far, well done homework by Katerina, and e6. Black is immediately trying to challenge the dominance of white's pawns in the center.
That's right. E6 right away asks some questions to white. Are you going to play c4 to maintain your center? However, bishop on b5 will have some time to get back into the game with bishop a4, bishop c2, or are you going to take the pawn on e6? That I have not seen much in the games, like d takes e6, pawn takes e6, you have semi-open f-file, you have very nice center. However, d6 pawn is backward. So those are some of the options here white is probably considering to play.
I'm also very happy to see that Katerina is very cool. She is not upset from the previous game. You can see that she is concentrated. She is accepted that, okay, she played a bad game the first game. It happens, right? Even though she was the pre-tiebreak favorite, it doesn't matter because, again, what happens is what you produce in that particular day. And now she has at least started to play faster. And this probably was something that her coach said, or maybe she even felt it herself after the first game. Dear Katerina, just play those moves faster.
That's right. And this is the main strength of the top grandmasters. And that's the main difference because usually people are getting so upset for the losers of the previous game that it affects to the next game too. And we can see how calm Katarina is for this game, and she's totally focused in the current position, which is really great stuff to do. So White has to play here, and I think another advice that Katarina got at the break from the coaches to play faster and not to give so much time advantage to Tanjongi again.
Right, but it's a very big decision here for White to make, because she could either go for the space advantage, perhaps play c4 with knight c3, fix things in the center, or maybe go after the pawn on d6. Think about taking on e6, take it, and bishop f4. But no, Katarina plays h3, a slow move. And I think I understand, Keti, what's the idea, because one of the common themes in this position, White says, I'm going to make your last with bishop on c8 look bad.
That's right. So you're taking control g4 square with the move h3, which is a very useful move. And in case of e takes d5, there will be no bishop g4 move.
Yeah, I mean, for example, let's say instead of d takes on e6, while they're thinking, let's shuffle the pieces a bit. Let's say c4, takes, bishop g4, h3, takes, and for example, knight e7. Okay, of course, not ideal, but you see that black has a very good control of the dark squares. Knight e5, a6, this bishop perhaps is a bit ridiculous. So with the entire concept of h3, Katarina is trying to limit this bishop at f5 and, try to make it look useless.
That's right. So now, because of this move h3, you take control over the g4 square. However, you allow black to play a6, b5 on the queen side right away without pawn on c4. So if you have pawn on c4, this idea will cost you a pawn. It's a pawn sacrifice. Now, black wants to play bishop to b7 to attack the pawn on d5. So then knight to d7, knight b6, a4. That's the move you were suggesting us to right away make sure that black is not the one who controls the full queen side.
Right. I am trying to understand if White has anything here. So definitely White has some pressure. I think we are going to see some mass trades. Take on b5.
I would go c4, Artur, anyway here. c4, if you take my pawn, then knight c3, and knight d2, knight c4 is the idea. Then I can get this pawn back, or bishop c4 is the idea. And this is the pawn structure that I'm very happy. If you play b4, then this position.
Tough to evaluate. I don't know, Keti. I don't think I can immediately jump in and say this is great for White. Definitely something to be considered. But bishop g5 is another move by Lagno. And you know, Keti, this really reminds me of how I usually would feel when I had those chances to play against Hikaru Nakamura. Because when you play online, obviously, you calculate one move, you calculate the second move, you calculate the obvious moves that your opponent is going to play. And he would always fire out like fourth or fifth move, which you do not consider. And I think this is a special trained skill, and also for Lagno, right? She doesn't take on b5, she doesn't take on c4, and she plays something like bishop g5. Again, difficult for black to expect this.
That's right. I agree with that fact that some of the players are so resourceful and they can find extra two moves from the position that it looks very obvious to everyone. But anyways, knight to d7 now happened. Black wants to play h6 next move, and black is ready to capture f6 knight with the knight back. So you can hold the pin on the king side. And now we have a different pawn structure, and the structure itself is h6 and g5 will not be so dangerous to play, as bishop is already fianchetto on g7, and this guards pretty well the king.
And black is also trying to play bishop d5 because the knight on d7 protects once again the bishop on d5, so that is probably not the case. The c4 idea that you mentioned here, Keti, I'm not sure if that's going to work now with the bishop on g5, but definitely to be considered. Maybe after c4, White is not even threatening anything, right? Because after takes, black could win back the pawn on d5. And I think that usually in these moments you have to really trust your gut instinct. And now I believe that black is all right.
It seems to be 5. Bishop d5 is a really strong threat, and this knight d7 is such a sneaky move here. You think that it's just a developing move, but in fact it actually attacks the pawn on d5. Our chat into which is asking, was that Rosolimo? It was Rosolimo, but it looks now to me kind of Benoni structure, so we kind of switch to the different pawn structure and the position.
Right, and I think that maybe Katerina is trying to figure out how to include knight a3 in the game. I'm thinking, should I play knight a3 right away or 8x, 8x, knight a3 to recapture on b5 with the knight and target the pawn on d6? So, for example, while Katerina is thinking, let's try to make work something like knight a3. For example, you take on d5, take, knight b5, and perhaps there's some pressure, but again, you have to calculate the line further. Takes, bishop a3.
f3.
Yeah, not very good. You go back, try to figure out how else I can improve it. Maybe start with 8x, rook a8. I guess queen a8, knight a3. With the idea, bishop d5. Again, bishop f3 is a threat. Probably no. So usually the players are calculating so fast. And
I think they're going to that direction, as we can see now. Katerina just made a very long move. That should be rook to a8. Capture. So queen to a8 we have already on the board, which means that d5 pawn now is impossible to be guarded, and black is obviously taking this pawn next. But is it enough for white? There's also bishop f4, bishop d6 ideas here.
What about bishop b5, bishop d7, winning a pawn on d6?
Oh, that's also a nice way to do so.
Let's check this. Bishop b5, bishop d5, bishop d7. Probably you have to include this. Bishop e7, rook something.
Oh, okay. I know what can be happen here. Rook e8 to pin the rook, but beforehand we had to take the knight on f3.
Yeah, I think you're right. Take on f3.
Yeah.
Queen f3 is going to pin the rook on e1. G takes, rook e8, bishop d6. And in the worst case scenario, there's queen takes on f3.
That's right.
And I think, again, the players are pretty much calculating the same speed, and you don't have the time to calculate all the details because this is rapid. You have to do simplified calculation. I think actually the difference, Keti, between the classical chess, rapid chess, and blitz chess is, of course, in the classical chess, you calculate every single detail to perfection. In rapid, you do calculate something, but you heavily trust your gut instinct and how do you feel about the position. In blitz, you basically don't calculate the thing, right? So
that's right.
You just listen to
follow,
your gut instinct.
Yeah, just follow that. The thing is that obviously here, Tanjongi is the one in this match who plays really fast, and in the classical chess there was not too much visible as Katerina was holding the positions perfectly well, and there's also increment after 40 moves. But in the rapid section, the fact that Katerina is spending more time is pretty much visible.
Right, and 92 is played. Lagno acknowledges she has nothing here because there was no choice. The bishop f3 threat was such a big threat. Black is super solid. She can play bishop c6, get a very nice position. She can play rook b8. Black has solved the opening problems. She's ahead on the clock 30 minutes, and I think this is a good moment to invest something like 1 minute. Try to figure out which direction should I take the game.
That's right. So now the idea after knight to d2 is that you want to play bishop d7, bishop e7, and take the pawn on d6. So you just need to get rid of one of the bishop. Bishop c6 indeed is a great idea. Another idea I would play is h6 here to make sure that this bishop just leaves the knight on f6 alone and go somewhere else.
Yeah, but I could play bishop f4, right? Bother your pawn on d6 again. You want to figure out if that's good for you. Maybe knight e5 idea at some point could be interesting. You know, you think about going aggressive against the pawn on g2. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, you want to take your time here because there's so many tempting moves here. You can't really blitz out. This is not blitz, right? You don't need to rush. She has 12 minutes on the clock. She knows she's doing well. She knows that the start of the match for the Chinese Grandmaster has been really great. Maybe she can actually look for more than just equality in this game.
Well, if she looks for more and if she scores second win in a row, then it means that she just needs to score half a point in 2 games, which is one step close to the round 2. So that's the best scenario indeed for Tanjongi, and this is pretty much depends also at Katerina. If she spices up the thing, then Tanjongi can of course take advantage of that. But I think if Lagno at this point realized that maybe the chances has been missed, she might go to the next game.
I think rook b8 is probably going to follow, and she's trying to figure out what's happening to rook b8. Of course, it's an incredible logical move, and Katerina already should be expecting this move. Makes sense. Attacks the bishop on b5, attacks the pawn on b2. Is it c4? Not really sure because White is thinking about some future plans to create an outside pass pawn at the queen side. And if she does play c4, these plans, well, let's just say they're never going to happen, at least in this game. So that's why after
c4 actually weakens the pawn on b2 even more, because after c4, bishop c6, you are kind of forced to take this bishop on c6. Queen gets on c6, pawn on b2 is hanging, and there is also bishop on g7, which targets this pawn on b2. So maybe bishop c4, yeah, that can be a nice
she's looking at
suggestion.
some tactics. She's looking at some tactics. Is there something here? Is there some way I can sack the pawn on b2, right? For example, rook takes on b2, and maybe I can somehow exploit the back rank weakness. Probably not really, because black is going to take on d5 with the queen. So bishop c4, it doesn't even force black to take on b2. Probably not, but what? Queen e2? c4?
Oh, c4 is the move I don't really like. How about queen e2 to get at least this queen on the open file too?
I'm going to play queen b7. I'm going to force matters here.
True. Yeah, very interesting.
So big decision.
Very interesting situation.
Yeah, big decision here. Maybe she's going to have to play the c4. She might not have any choice here. That's why Katerina is thinking. Again, she is not in a must-win situation. It's not such a dire situation for the for Katerina. Maybe, you know, she realizes, okay, I didn't manage to get anything out of this game. Okay, draw is not a tragedy. I mean, we still have 2 games and still might have some chances. But if she loses this game, then it might be pretty much over, right? So again, I mean, how do you balance
the chances
this?
very, very much. So at this point, if Katerina feels that this is not going on her way, maybe she has to just conclude this game in a draw and go to the next one, because things can get really worse here. I don't really like the pawn on b2. It's really weak, and if you lose this pawn, you're gonna lose the c3 pawn, also very weak. And for the moment, this 6 backward pawn is not even attacked.
All right. Okay. Now, here, Tanjan Key is thinking about her choices.
Yeah, queen b7 is our suggestion. Bishop c6 is another suggestion here from us. Those 2 moves are looking really nice. There's also queen to a2 to attack the pawn in that way. Lots of choices. But queen b7 is something, as you mentioned, that forces the matters.
All right. So here, the players are in a very deep think. Queen e2 is played. Queen b7 looks very logical. By the way, there's also rook e8 idea. Maybe try to trade rooks. But I have a feeling that Tanjan Key could be slightly ambitious. Yes, bishop c6. Great move. Activating the rook on b8. Bishop c6, queen c6. The pawn is under attack. Black is going to play d5. White has nothing here. Maybe black is even nominally slightly better.
Yeah, that's true. And here we don't have moves like c4 actually can get the things even worse, as then black can play something like rook to e8 or take the bishop on b5 and create the weakness over there. So bishop b6 might be the move Katia should play right now. And after queen takes c6, then maybe knight c4.
Yeah, maybe. Takes, knight c4. Okay, sure. I mean, probably black is not better, but I really like black's piece harmony, right? Think about moves like d5. Look at the black's position. It's so healthy. There's some pressure on the pawn on b2. But of course, I mean, white could always play bishop c1, protect his pawn, so I guess the objective valuation is equal, but I like black.
True. I like black too. It's obviously, it seems like black's pieces have more harmony here. After knight c4, there is another thing that this rook to e8, you can also consider that move with trading the rooks and go to the end game to secure draw in the game and go to the third game with 1 point ahead.
Right. Now queen c6. Katerina has to figure out what to do here.
That's right. So white doesn't have much of the options, right? Knight to c4 is one thing. b3 is another thing you can play to hold it, but it's a bit passive out there. And I honestly don't see any more move. Like queen e7 is very active, way too active. You're gonna drop the queen in that case. Queen e7, rook e8 loses the queen, as I can see.
Yeah.
Maybe knight f1 to guard the pawn in that case.
Right. Here, Katerina is down 5 minutes on the clock. So here you can see very, very nice zoom.
Knight c4 has been played, bringing the knights in the center, guarding the pawn on b2. So now we might expect here d5 to happen to kick this knight back, or rook to e8 to trade the queen and, rooks. Or there's another move, h6, to make sure that this bishop is kicked out from g5 square.
All right.
And once again, Tanjongi has huge time advantage on the clock. 5 minutes versus 10. We have rooks off the board. Indeed, this is secure to Tanjongi to go to this end game with nothing to worry about. There's not any single weakness. After d5, you don't even have this weakness on d6 anymore. And we have it on the board. Knight is now hanging. Katerina Lagno still keeps cool, calculating all the possible ways. Until the last game, last classical game, she has a chance. Anything can happen. We have seen miracles. We don't even call miracle this match. Is like we have 4 games for a reason, right? So any game is important, and you have to treat as a chess player new game as just your new chance.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have plenty of moves being made here. d5, the position is fizzling out to complete equality. Knight c to e5. So I think that the most likely outcome, this is a draw. But like I already said, I mean, White is dreaming about creating this outside pass pawn with b4, which is also the reason why she didn't play c4 earlier. But I mean, Tanjongi is totally cool here. She plays h6. She knows the position is very equal. And so far, she's following the match strategy to the letter. Try to win with the white color, make a draw with black. And unexpectedly, she might be becoming a favorite in this tiebreak.
That's right. That is right. Queen to b8 check. Now black can play queen to e8 to guard check and kind of force queen trade. She can also play king to h7 to keep all the things still in progress. But I think queen e8 makes a lot of sense. However, Tanjongi chooses king to h7. Now bishop is hanging on g5.
So I guess bishop f6 is a move you don't want to play because the bishop could become a really strong piece. So queen b8 nicely allows you to push forward the b pawn, right? So b4, b5, b6 is a very big threat. I wonder if black might go for the safer c4. Probably not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
just to stop this
c4
idea.
seems to stop the b pawn, but however you drop the d4 square weakness, and knight d4 can occupy right away, attack the queen. Then something like bishop to e5, things like that. Well, white has a little bit something here. Also, if white managed to attack the f7 pawn and, for instance, c5 pawn at the same time, that can be a double attack at some point. If black queen leaves the c6 square, and this is the moment where black has to make sure that this position is equal, really.
But she could be also thinking about the d4 idea push, and knight e4 might as well improve this idea because you need to protect the square. Knight e4, great knight on d4 standing here. It also slowed down b4 because the pawn on c3. Yeah, and d4 idea is also on there. So I think here what Lagno would love to do, she would love to, I don't know, I mean, maybe trade the bishops and push b4, make it happen. So that's why bishop e5, yeah, I had a feeling that this bishop on g7 is so strong that you need to trade it. And the only hope for white is the b pawn.
That's right. So if you take now on e5, knight takes e5, attacks the queen and the pawn at the same time, there can be a move like knight queen to f6 to undermine the pawn on f2. However, Tanjongi is very careful and she plays f6 avoids the dark square bishop trade.
So the bishop has to go back unless white thinks that bishop c7 is a great square. That's an interesting choice.
Well, it depends where the bishop goes. If bishop goes on h2, that takes very important square from the king, and black can even try to go d4 and create a pass pawn. And Artur, that's funny because after trade, the pawn on d4, you're going to have a checkmate on this c1 square.
Right, so bishop h2, d4, takes. You can't do that because, oops, yeah, the bishop here is not where it's supposed to be, so probably it's not going to happen. And after f6 here, Katerina has to figure out where to put the bishop. I think the idea here is to play some sort of a g5, queen e6, f5, aggressively at once. And no, she plays bishop c7.
I don't know about this move, bishop c7. It's not creating any weakness. And are you really stopping me to play d4 here? Can I still go for it? Like, let's say d4, c takes d4, c takes d4, knight d4, and queen c1 check. Oh, anyways, she goes queen a4. She wants to sneak in on the back rank with queen d1.
Well, I think
the point is that f2 pawn is hanging after check.
Wait, black is taking over the game here. I mean, queen d1, knight f2, queen h1, knight e4. How do you stop these threats at all? I don't see. Wait, this is a major danger here for Lagno because she could be very close to lose the match if this indeed is now a big threat. So queen d1, how do you stop this? The queen on b8 is completely shut off from the game, and while Katerina was trying to figure out how to make the b pawn at once, she, I have a feeling, simply lost the sense of the danger, and now
bishop g3, this loses the tempo. That makes bishop c7 looking really silly, and if you have to make such a move, that is just not so great for white. White knows that. I still love the move d4 here to create the pass pawn. Also, queen d1 is something that you can consider first to give a check and then to play d4.
This is a very pleasant position here for Tan Zhengqi because she definitely is out of the danger. There's no danger for her for, the entire game. She was doing really well. And I think that she is entitled to play for more. And if white is trying to push for the d pawn, she can do exactly the same. And d4
she's going d4.
d4 is played, and this pawn is faster. 1, 2, 3, it's faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. White is simply slower. So here, Katerina Lagno is already on the defensive. She's low on the clock as well.
That's right. So white's piece is bishop on g3 is a bit passive, where black's bishop on g7 that does a great job. It stops any kind of checks, and the king is safe. That's first task to solve in chess, to make sure that your king is safe. So after c takes d4, now we have this pass pawn on d4. White has to stop this pawn with the queen, and queen has to get into the game. Maybe queen to d1, d8. However, after queen d8, you drop the pawn on b2 right away, like queen a1, queen b2.
Maybe this is the way to go. Maybe here white has already have to make a draw because the situation doesn't require that she has to win this game at all costs. They still have two rapid games. However, if white loses this game, this will mean that the Chinese grandmaster is going to be ahead in the match 2-0 and essentially needs just one draw from remaining games. So there you go. Queen d8, white says, let me out of here. I'm ready to make a draw. And Tan Zhengqi says no.
She keeps the pawn on d3. Wow, we see different Tan Zhengqi today. This is a different person. So dominating in the rapid section. She keeps the pawn on d3, makes a lot of sense. Why to delay the things when you can still create a lot of tension here? And seems like it is white who has to make now draw.
Yeah, absolutely. So queen d8 was already a silent draw for queen d5 here. I think that Katerina desperately is trying to hold on to the game because f5, bishop e5, maybe there are some counter-attacking chances against the black king. Look at these pawns on f6, g6, h6. They look pretty terrible, right? But how do you crash through? It's very difficult.
It's a nice shelter. It's a nice shelter in the bishop on g7. It's great how safe black's king is. Well, after queen d5, the knight on e4 is hanging. You can play queen e2 now to guard the guard the knight and also open up the road for the knight. And is she going to play that? And there's another tricky move too, but I think that equalized the position, maybe knight d2, and it's super tricky, Artur, because if you take the d3 pawn, then knight f1 wins the queen.
Nice. 92 looks really good. So here again, this is a good moment for Black to invest some time. She is having 8 minutes on the clock. I mean, this is huge. Again, a very critical moment, but Tan Zhongqi today is on fire, right? She's playing wonderful chess, totally cool, controlling the situation, and Katerina at the moment is simply getting outplayed in the first two games. Who could have thought, given the previous score so far?
Yeah, that's incredible, obviously. But here we have this thing. So far, we have seen great play from Tan Zhongqi. Let's see if she can get a point out of all these moves that she played today. Queen e2, knight e2, those are the moves. f5, some kind of possibilities here. She goes knight to d2.
That is your move, and I think this is the move that Katerina hated to see. She didn't want to see this move because I think the idea after queen d5, she was hoping for queen e2, knight e4, knight e6, queen d7, going for some attacking ideas. Knight e2 kills all of that. So again, queen d3 is going to be knight f1 check. White loses the queen. You can't go knight e4, knight f1 check. This king is unfortunately...
Checkmate,
yeah, I mean, checkmate or lose the queen. I'm not even sure what's happening there, but white loses. So, knight e2, queen e2. Now, this pawn might as well decide the fate of the game.
Yeah, seems like knight e2 is the only move. She is now capturing the pawn. Then black needs to make extra two moves, like, for instance, queen to somewhere, queen into queen c2 to push the pawn, and white has to cooperate with the queen and the bishop together. Bishop f4 is something. Oh, wait, does she wanted to take the pawn on b4 and then she stopped?
No, she's never going to take it. I don't think so. But she needs to figure out what she's going to do against the bishop f4 threat. I mean, this pawn is already so far advanced that I think that...
How about f5, f4 idea?
The queen c2, slow move, preparation move. Where's the idea after bishop f4?
Yeah,
so white needs to keep this pawn. Bishop f4, I guess you just take the pawn on f2 and...
The bishop is hanging. Yeah, that's very smart. That's very smart.
Queen e2 also was working with the same idea. Maybe there would be queen c4 pins, so that's why queen c2 is very precise.
Oh, she goes b5. Hold on, what's happening after d2? Oh, nice. We can show this. d2, b6, d1, queen takes d1, and b7. You cannot stop me queening.
Wow, this is absolutely incredible. It is absolutely incredible escape. Okay, nice. Maybe Katerina was not in the danger, but it felt that she is on the ropes here, and black is up a queen in this position. Yet he can't stop this pawn. Wow, it's so incredible. And b5, great resource. Great resource by Katerina Lagno. She might as well save the match here, because going down 0-2 after 2 games, only 4-game mini match, this could be incredibly tough to come back.
That's right, and you need to make sometimes draws to keep yourself together and just be sure that you're safe, you're in a shape. If you can find out b5 at this point in the position when it's so tricky and you probably feel like you are not the best side here with 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, that means that you are still in the game.
Yeah, now here Tan Zhongqi might regret her choice by not investing slightly more time, because she has 6 minutes on the clock and now it's useless. Now it's useless because I have a feeling that white has managed to escape. She could have invested this time before. Again, here we go back to this moment where she had a queen on d5. Very big moment. Knight e2. I guess she simply missed this amazing resource of b5. And after queen d5, maybe it was a good idea to invest the time into something else. I don't know what. I mean, there could be queen e2. There could be maybe some other move like knight g5. There could be f5. I mean, this definitely was a good moment to think about it. And now you look at Katerina, she's in better spirits here. She's
Yes.
smiling almost,
Thinking
right?
about next game, I think what to play because this is to be honest really secure position for her. Her king is safe now, and all black can do is just to promote the pawn, and you already know the plan. Like black is running out from the ideas. There is no any single plan like f5 or queen somewhere b1. It doesn't create anything.
Yeah, and I really love this moment that Katerina was in good spirits here. You can see she is happy with her discovery. And I do think, Keti, that all of us chess players, we are like artists, right? And even doesn't matter how it's going in the tournament. Maybe for Katerina, the start of this tiebreak is pretty terrible according to her expectations. But when you find beautiful ideas, sometimes you can't stop but smile, right? I mean, you like it, and that's the reason why we
you have
love
the
chess.
satisfaction. Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see these ideas happen, and
you are starting new game as the person who win the last one as a victorious. Like you just feel if you don't lose, if you find a beautiful way to save your game, you are having higher spirit.
Yep. So here I think black is simply going to acknowledge.
Is very disappointed. Artur, look at her body language, and also she is a person who shows a bit of emotions even when she plays. And
she might regret this. She might regret this moment later. I mean, of course, she's still leading the match. But in case, I mean, I don't want to jinx this, Keti, but in case she loses one of the games and Katerina Lagno is going to manage to tie the score, she might regret having not invested more time here. I'm not saying that there was something, right? But it felt that this pawn on d3 is so far advanced that there could be a way to advance it. Still, knight e2 apparently was not the right choice. Queen c2, she only expected bishop f4, winning the pawn on f2, only to be blown away by b5, which is going to be now a draw.
That's right, and the chess is a beautiful game. Even in the moment you think that's done, that's over, you can find a resource like this to give up the queen, to play a game for a moment without queen and still make sure that that's a draw. And Tanjongi played the move this d2. You cannot make any more moves because white's pawn is getting strong and fast too. Two queens on the board. Now we have trade, and after b7, I think that's going to be draw offer any day soon. Do we have
black
a Sophia rule here? No.
Yeah, black is up a queen. And yet it means nothing.
Yeah.
There you go. b8, the bishop on g3 actually does something, and after bishop g8, there should be a draw offer. g5. No, they're going to play it out. All right. I think there's no good reason. There you go.
No, there's no rule. It's anyway 43 move. So both of them are now sipping some water and tea, probably. Tanjongi not happy, shaking her head. Anyway, she did a great job. She has nothing to be upset about. She got the first very convinced win. Second game, without any problem with black pieces, she did great. Meanwhile, Lagno started really heavily at the first game, and second game, she found the way to save the game. I feel like she should already boost her confidence with this draw.
Right, and I think that, Keti, now we have another 10 minutes, and we can use this time to invite dear viewers to remind that you can ask us any questions, any insights, or some uncertainties that you have in your mind, right? That's why you are there. Perhaps we could make a very short break, right?
Yeah, we need to refill the cups.
Refill our cups of tea.
It's empty.
And be back in several minutes. I mean, not really longer, because the next game is going to start in about 10 minutes. So very quickly, we are going to check that endgame once we come back. Of course, we don't want to miss the start of the next game. The score is 1.5 point against half a point in favor for the Chinese Grandmaster Tanjongi. But we might have just witnessed turn of the events here in this game, because Lagno was, from our perspective, very close to lose this game, and yet she managed to save it.
Right, Artur, and we're going to definitely come back before the start of the game, because we have to check out what's the mood of the both players, because very often we can read it out from the face expression. So guys, don't go anywhere, because we will be back shortly.
Ти за Китаєм болієш? Ти за Китаєм болієш?
Я? game of the first match. All draws in the match, but today, do you think there was a chance for something more?
Well, I don't know. Really, the game was very complex, and first of all, she surprised me in the opening. She played Dragon, and well, I just wanted to play something new, and the game was very complicated, and I couldn't figure out who was better and why. But probably when she played d4, it's already about equal. So no, I don't think that some of us had a chance. So I think draw was okay.
And of course, it was a pretty tiring beginning of the tournament. What is your general impression about the first part of the candidates?
Well, I don't know. Still, I'm just stay focused because tomorrow is a tiebreak. Mm-hmm. So no impressions here. Just want to play another four games, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And after the round, immediately you made a drawing of the color for the tiebreaks. Are you satisfied? Do you think it matters at all, or something else will be really crucial tomorrow?
No, I don't think it matters. Mm-hmm. Just to prepare, to know a little bit, to prepare, just to know with which carol you start. So that's all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. This is FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament Pool B tie breaks. Here we have between Tan Zhongyi and Katerina Lachno, where Tan Zhongyi keeps the 1 point advantage. This is Artur, I'm Keti, and we are going to go into the playing venue and check out if the players are ready to start the game.
According to our information, the next game is going to start at exactly 45 minutes past the hour, so that means 4 minutes still. And I would like again to use this moment to remind that this wonderful event is possible because of the nice cooperation that FIDE has managed to organize together with Establishment Labs, which is one of the partners of FIDE Women Candidates Tournament. Establishment Labs is a global medical technology company, and FIDE has made a landmark partnership agreement specifically aimed at supporting all kinds of women highest level chess tournaments. So among these events, sponsored by Establishment Labs and its brand Motiva, are FIDE World Team Women Chess Championship, FIDE Women's Candidates Tournament, FIDE Women's World Rapid and Blitz Championships, and FIDE Women's World Championship match, where one of the participants, of course, is the reigning world champion, Yuven Yun.
That's right. And for the moment, we had the situation in the playing venue where Tan Zhongyi arrived at the board, and the photographer told her to make a move or just change a little bit of the pose, and he had the best shoot. Artur, I had one of the moment in Georgia where we had some kind of broadcasting TV in Georgia, Georgian Chess TV, and we had a cameraman who was very experienced, and during the game, during the very strong competition, Georgian Man Championship, he went to make some footage, and during the game, he asked one of the grandmasters to make move once again for the good shots and during the game, and there was a bit of interesting situation. If you are not a chess player and you just are professional at your job, you don't really understand how much tension is going on right now and how much these players need to be focused. But there was a lovely moment we had here. I'm sure this photographer had a really nice shot of Tan Zhongyi, and meanwhile, Katerina Lachno also arrived at the board.
Right, and the games are about to start. Here you see a very nice zoom in of the board. And actually, talking about the previous game, We did check it. I mean, with the engines, accordingly to the engines, which are usually cold-blooded and don't care about human emotions, engines were saying it was dead draw from the start to finish. I don't know, Keti, about that, right? So I had a really great impression that this pawn on d3 is so strong, it somehow should be winning for the Chinese player, yet somehow White is always keeping the position together, and what Katerina chose, this queen sacrifice, b5, b6, b7, probably was the cleanest way to secure a draw.
That's right. So we saw visibly that Tan Zhongyi was upset with a draw with the result, but during the break, she had time to consult with her seconds and the coaches. So for now, she knows there was no way to win, and it was still a lot of resources for Katerina Lagno. So maybe she is now not so upset after that game as she was before. And it's interesting what we're going to have once again in this match. Tan Zhongyi won first game very nicely in Queen's Gambit accepted. Do you think we're going to see it again?
And they're starting it. I think it should be d4, of course. You prepare entire concept. d4, d5, c4, played very quickly. e6. Are we going again to see some sort of a delayed Queen's Gambit accepted? Yep, they're repeating moves.
I think so. I don't... Oh, no. Yeah, there we go again.
Knight c3, d takes on c4. Here we go again. We're going for the same line, and I think that Lagno's coach has said, everything is good, Katerina. This line is good. You can repeat it. Definitely, that's why he's there. He has to check things that this line for Black is solid. She has probably prepared some improvements. Repeating game one.
Right. So far, we do have
exactly the same.
We had G3.
A G3. Oh, yeah. This is a new move.
This is new.
All right. G3 is played, and in the first game of the tiebreak, you remember, right, how the game progressed. It was bishop G5, E4, which finished with a very spectacular combination by the Chinese grandmaster, allowing her to take the lead. Here, the bishop on G2 is quite typical for various Catalan positions, because as soon as the position opens, White wants to make good use of this very strong let's go bishop on G2.
Yeah, very interesting approach, and it's also interesting that mostly it's Tan Zhongyi who switched the lines and the setups. So it means that she's not prepared. She did not take this preparation for 10 minutes. Now she was prepared for this before the tournament, and very likely they had some training camps, and she is comfortably fine in this position too. However, now we can see that the pawns in the center has been traded. Knight d4 has been also played by Tan Zhongyi.
Yep. Absolutely. So I think here Black has a choice between knight takes on d4, maybe trying to play a bit more aggressive with knight e5. Also, Katerina is trying to play faster, because the first game, the time management for her was not great, and she missed this very tricky moment, which in the end cost her game. I do believe she had to go for some more complications. Instead, she played a very passive move, which allowed her position simply to collapse. And there you go, knight e5, very sharp.
Yeah, now queen is hanging, and queen goes back on a4, which it came from. I wonder if Black is going to push the pieces and play something like bishop to d7 or bishop to c5 to attack the knight on d4. So for the moment, the king is not castled, and this gives Black some of the time to be a little bit aggressive and start to push the pawns.
I mean, there could be a number of ways how Black could play out this position. Either c5, bishop d7, which you said, Keti. Also c6 would make sense, try to limit the activity of this bishop. But for White, these positions usually have one simple plan. At some point after shortcast, you want to play e4, f4, e5. There you go. This is the big plan, right? But how do you properly carry it out? I guess it's easier said than done. And you want to make some preparation moves like queen c2, rook d1 first, and only then try to take the center.
Yeah, that's right. If White managed to do this plan, what you just mentioned, it's White going to have a very good position, but it takes at least like 4 or 5 moves to be played, and meanwhile, it is Black to move. Black is going to do something right now, maybe connected with the e-file, maybe connected with the queen side. But there is this point that the b7 pawn might be hanging at some point and you cannot really develop your bishop that easily. And move like c6 is a little bit slow move and waiting move.
And I think now that the pace has slowed down a bit, there you go. Bishop c5 is played. Perhaps we can have a look at the match table and see what is the current standings, because the first 4 classical games finished in a draw. And here in this tiebreak, Tanjaki won the first game, and the second game finished in a draw. Or maybe we're not going to see that. I'm not really sure. Either way, in this game, if Tanjaki is winning this game, this means that she wins the match. It's really so simple for Lagno. There is no room for error. And you know what, Keti? I just read a very interesting comment on YouTube channel. And the comment is this. If Tanjaki wins this game for Goryachkina, in order to become world champion, she's going to have to beat 3 Chinese players in a row.
Yeah. So if Tanjaki wins the match, then we're going to have the second round, Goryachkina-Tanjaki. If Goryachkina wins that, she's going to play against Lei Tingji, who is from China too. And then if she wins that, she goes in the final of the World Championship match against Ju Wenjun. That is a very good observation, guys.
Yeah. Bishop c5, great move. And of course, Lagno will do everything not to allow that. She definitely has a say in this matter. So Bishop c5 looks great, trying to push away the knight from d4. And it seems that Tanjaki's preparation is over.
Yeah, she's taking some time now. Knight is hanging on d4. You can play e3 because you're going to create a lot of weaknesses on d3 square. Also, bishop takes d4 will open up the e-file. So white basically has here 3 main moves. Knight to f3, knight to b3, and knight to c2. So out of these moves, I believe that knight c2 and knight b3 are my least favorites, because it's like they are just dropping the queen on a4, and I don't feel very safe with that. But knight f3 kind of eliminates the pieces.
Yeah, but what about bishop h3? Yeah, what about bishop h3 here? You know, you are no longer castling short. And even if white is winning a pawn here, bishop b7, rook b8, this position looks really dynamic for black. And I would simply say good compensation for the sacrifice pawn.
Indeed, good compensation, as white cannot really castle here. And that's double-edged for Lagno. Does she want to go there and sacrifice a pawn? Because if she loses a game, as you mentioned, Artur, she will lose the match as well. However, that's a very good chance to win the game as well when you sacrifice a pawn and the opponent's king is exposed in the center.
I think that Lagno would have to take chances. Otherwise, this is already game 3. And are you really into going to hold on everything to the final game, to win the final game on demand with white? So if Lagno is going to have some chances in this game, she's going to definitely take it. She's not going to go for a simple draw. So think about this knight f3 again. Knight f3 takes. Black is not obliged to sacrifice the pawn, but I think she's definitely going for this. And for Tanjaki, also, she's trying to figure out, is she happy to do this? Or maybe after bishop c5, she has to do something else. And knight b3 is maybe slightly awkward, but it pushes away the bishop from c5 at a tempo. And the queen could go maybe queen h4, bishop g5.
That's true. And Artur, we have to point out for our viewers who are watching us right now that the moves like bishop f2 will not be working. Yes, you take the f2 pawn, you weaken the king, but then black has not enough resources to follow up. There's knight g4, but after king to g1, white has a very good resources here to save the king. And we have a move which is
bishop e3. Wait a second. I mean, is this even working? Because after bishop e3, Keti, I see knight g4. Here we go. So after knight g4, what happens after knight c6? Can somebody tell me? Probably nothing.
Nice.
Take. And can I play something like bishop h3? I don't know, what is this? Probably nothing, right?
Well, yeah, seems like not too much.
I can't immediately work it out. I don't see where's the follow-up for black. Maybe this is simply not working. And I think that Katerina is calculating this because knight g4 here, once again, it's so tempting because if white kills this bishop on e3 for the knight, if black kills this bishop for the knight, black is simply better. Maybe the pragmatic choice is to play bishop b6, but you simply can't walk past an idea like knight g4 when you're behind the match, in the match.
It's true. Knight g4, she's going bishop to d7, queen is under attack. Tan Zhongyi plays queen to d1 right away. Why on d1? That's a bit a mysterious move for me because I thought white wanted to play rook to d1. And was there something wrong with queen to c2?
Maybe the same idea of knight g4. And now the big point is after knight g4, knight c6, black can recapture with a bishop. So the bishop on g2 is under attack and bishop c6, knight e3. This is, I guess, simply terrible. So great play by Katerina Lagnon, queen d1. Tan Zhongyi is tactically alert. She makes sure that knight g4 is no longer working because here after knight g4, she can probably retreat with the bishop. That being said, it doesn't mean that black is not going to play knight g4 because let's say white plays something like bishop f4. All we need is a smart last bishop move.
That's right. It seems that black is creating the threats for all the moves, and we just need one last move. Hold on, is there now knight f2 working? Knight f2, king f2.
You mean here? Oh, you want to make this work? Okay.
Yeah. yeah, I really want that. And then bishop
stopping e3.
That's right.
And after bishop e3, rook e8, try to sacrifice the rook on e3 like Mikhail Tal, right?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Learn from the best.
It's not very practical, of course. I mean, I don't think that she is still in that desperate situation, but you see these ideas. You know, Keti, I think that you just see these ideas. You think, oh, they're nice, they're great, but are you going to play them?
Oh, if it's my choice, I would spend here 15 minutes, an extra 15 minutes, which I don't have, which means that when it comes to make decision, they cannot take pieces back. We can just refresh the board and get the starting position, what we have, but they can't. And this is how much responsibilities they have. But indeed, that's something that they are considering to play knight g4 and knight f2 at some point.
I think she is looking at it right now. I mean, knight g4 is looking so good. Maybe knight e to g4 to open the e file. Maybe knight f to g4 looks really good. So this could actually make sense to keep the knight on e5 for something else. Let's say knight e to g4. White is going to want to keep this bishop alive. Bishop f4, and you
maybe
can even
knight g6
feel
here.
You can feel how Katerina is calculating these lines. It's so loud, right? Tick tock, here, there. Very, very intense
here.
position.
There, tac captures a lot of ideas, and this is indeed a perfect situation for her. You can't ask more. A knight f2 g4 is on the board. This attacks the bishop on e3. You cannot ignore this threat. You cannot castle here because knight will take on e3, and you're gonna have a horrible weakness on e3. Black can play queen g5, knight g5, knight g4, rook to e8, and definitely you don't want to taste that position. You have to move your bishop away.
I guess it has to be bishop f4 because if Tan Zhongyi allows knight takes on e3, she acknowledges she is worse. And one thing, Keti, I understand about knight after g4, because here in this position, after queen e1, knight to e to g4, maybe white could try to bail out with bishop b7, rook b8, knight c6. I saw this idea very quickly and I couldn't calculate what's happening here. Takes, bishop c6. Maybe white is actually getting out of the trouble. So one of the reasons why knight after g4 is so good, because the knight on e5 extra protects the square on c6. After bishop b7, rook b8, you no longer have knight c6, or do you?
It's very nice detail here. Indeed.
Although, no, you have to calculate that. You have to calculate that, right? Take it. Bishop b3. Yeah, I guess, of course, black loses a piece.
Yeah. Another nuance there, why knight f6 to g4? Because, for instance, if you make move like queen d2, which is a horrible move because you played already 5 moves with this queen, there's knight c4 right away, and the queen and the bishop are under attack, and very likely you're going to lose this position in next few moves. So white is running out from the resources, and we can feel that black is having better position.
You can look at the body language of Tanjaki. She knows she's in trouble because after bishop f4, these tactical ideas of knight f2, something on d4, even if you don't see it, you feel it. You feel it, it's there, right? And she doesn't want to lose this game right after the opening. And going back a couple of moves, Keti, I think that she simply made a mistake. This bishop c5, bishop e3 probably was a mistake. Trying to protect the knight on d4, bishop d7, great move by Katerina Lagno, and after knight after g4, white is trying to hold on. And the king's in the center.
That's right, king's in the center, and that happens because White decided to fianchetto the bishop, which takes a little bit more time for white to develop, right? You need to play g3 extra move. And that's why white's king is not castled. If she would go in the normal setup, she would be already castled. But somehow it was Tanjaki who won the first game in this opening, and then she was the one who changed the line. And I'm sure she has now regrets with that choice.
Totally, and you maybe still had the previous game in your mind, but that she possibly missed a win. But I'm pretty sure somebody told her, keep it down, everything is cool, right? You had no victory there, don't think about it, move on to the next game. But sometimes when you have a bad position in the next game, you can't help but remember what happened in this previous game, right? Again, chess is huge with psychology, right? What was it, 30-40% of chess is psychology? The numbers really vary, and
that's
tough
right,
moment for Chinese grandmaster.
It is. And this is the first time in this tiebreak match when Tanjaki and Katerina Lagno are having the equal time on the clock. So far, we have seen huge domination on the clock as well. But now, even she double time on the clock, the position is so bad for white that black can anyway find the best moves here. Bishop f4 has been played.
There we go. Now, what is the best move here for Katerina Lagno? I see many moves, right? There could be sacrifice at f2. There could be some sort of a bishop retreat. I mean, I'm even looking at a bishop c8.
Knight c6, Artur. Knight c6.
Knight c6.
The thing is that if you take this knight on c6 with a knight, knight is under attack, you drop the f2 pawn.
Right, that looks also good. So after knight x on c6, again, you have to calculate this very, very fast. Maybe bishop takes on f2, king f1, what takes on c6, I don't know, h3, knight e3 check, and the black is simply winning this because king f2 drops the queen. Knight c6 looks really good. So we go back to this position. Here, Katerina
goes knight g6. This is actually the most logical move here to chase the dark square bishop. Because we don't know if knight c6 is working or not. It still needs the calculation. And Katerina Lagno has not enough time to calculate all these lines. So now she clearly wants to take the bishop on f4. She takes f4 and queen h4 maybe.
Exactly. So I was about to show that short castle looks secure. However, after knight f4, g takes, queen h4 is a huge threat. And after h3, you can't help but feel that here white is toast, because after knight f6, bishop h3 is a huge threat, queen f4 is a huge threat, the knight on d4 somewhere is under attack. So I think here white is in huge trouble, and I wouldn't be surprised that this is the game where Katerina Lagno might strike back and equalize the match.
We might witness that for sure. So far, white is just struggling and having a lot of weaknesses here. If you go with queen to d2 and try to castle on the long side, you cannot actually do that because f2 pawn is hanging and you're going to lose the exchange as well. So that means that white can't castle on the short side, white can't castle on the long side yet.
All right. Now, what would we play here if we were white? I mean, how to get out of this situation? So by now, Tanjaki definitely suspects she misplayed it. She knows that, right? It's no secret.
Yeah.
And usually both players arrive at this conclusion pretty much at the same time. Okay, now she's in trouble. How to get out of this? Because she is leading the match.
94. 94 to attack the bishop, guard f2 pawn.
Okay, let's include this trade.
Yes,
I guess
we
I have to
take.
Let's play something like bishop b6.
Right.
Maybe h6. 3. Push away this annoying knight.
Yes.
I play knight f6. You can't castle because knight e4, bishop h3 is going to be under attack. And knight f6, queen f6. This knight on d4 is under attack. Might as well simply be lost. Okay, maybe after e3, white is keeping this together, but very ugly position. And
It is
e3 instead
very
is played.
ugly. Yeah. E3. Oh, wow. E3. I'm feeling that all these moves are just giving Lachno more and more advantage. Knight f4 has been played. G takes f4 is the must move here. If you take with the e pawn, you open up the e file for the rook to be to give a check, and that's for sure not the best scenario here for white. And what happens after queen to h4 in the current position? By the way, we have it on the board, and we can see body language of Katerina Lachno. She sees the checkmate in the end.
I think there's some knight e3 incoming at some point. I don't see how white is going to hold on to this game. I mean, how do you play here? Let's say I play queen what? I mean, what do I do?
Queen d2, bishop d4 anyway, and you're forced to take with the pawn. If you take with the queen, queen f2 wins the game. If you take with the pawn, I'll give you a check on e8 with rook e8.
That's it. I mean, I think this game is almost done. That's my feeling here. I mean, maybe white is somehow holding on to the position, but essentially the leader of the match so far, Tan Zhengqi, did not get out of the opening a Lachno is about going to completely destroy white's position after mere, 18 moves? So queen takes on f2 is impossible threat to parry. There might be also Keti, knight takes on e3 threat. I was looking at this queen e2. Of course, bishop d4 is really great, but there might be at some point even this shot. Knight takes on e3, queen e3, rook e8, and there's so many pieces that there's got to be something for black.
That's right. After knight d4, you can also try to play move like f5 or bishop c6. Too many pins on the board, and she has to play with the queen. She goes with queen c2, I believe. Or queen d2. Yeah, we're going to this. We're going to this line.
I think this game will finish very quickly. Bishop d4, e takes, rook f e8, I guess. So here, Lachno is looking for the kill. The position is wide open.
Check.
Yeah, rook e8.
Yeah, well, you can play king d1 because knight f2 wins in exchange. Very least, you cannot play knight d4. King f1 has to be played. Now imagine if light square bishop gets into the game, like bishop e6, bishop c4, that's another check. But not the only choice here.
Can I play knight h2? Probably not, right? This knight is going to be under
king
attack.
g1, yes, that's,
King
I don't know
G1?
what happens.
I would love to somehow tactically make it work. Probably it's a bit too early, right? I was thinking maybe bishop h3 ideas. No, it does work. It does work. Bishop f5 instead, played by Katerina, bringing another piece in the game. The bishop on d7 wasn't doing much, and bishop f5 allows the black rook to be positioned on d8 and apply some targets for these pawns. They're about to be farmed.
Yeah, maybe she also wants to give a check at some point, bishop to d3.
Wow, look at that, Keti, this idea. I mean, I have to show that. Check this out. H3, the most obvious move. Bishop d3 check. If you take it, that's a checkmate on the board. King g1, rook e2 kills the game on the spot. Because
Oh my
knight
God.
e2 is a mate. H6 is a mate.
Incredible. King h2,
What an idea.
queen g2.
What an idea. So here, I think that's it. I mean, h3 loses on the spot. Rook e1. How do you even play?
How do you stop this happening? Like maybe king g1 here, just to admit that there is something wrong, and after bishop d3, it's not at least a check, and you might think of something else, like rook e1.
Rook e1, I mean, okay, h3, I think that white already sees this very beautiful idea, because otherwise you ask yourself, why? Black would play with this bishop f5, you see this bishop d3, beautiful shot. H3 loses on the spot. Maybe king g1 has to be played immediately. But after
King g1 or rook e1.
Yeah, rook e1. But I have a feeling white is going to lose those pawns on d4 and f4 by force.
That's for sure. That's for sure. These pawns are so loose here. Rook goes to e1. She sees this idea of bishop d3 and rook to e2. Incredible checkmate. Any trade would be just relief here for white, indeed, where black's all the pieces are attacking the king.
So where's the killing blow? Maybe it's still not there. Wait,
That's a good question.
Can I play knight f2 here? Probably not, right? So the idea was to take on E1. Already
Oh,
see it's
you
not...
bishop D3 now again. King G1 and rook E1.
maybe like this. Yeah, bishop D3 and then rook E1.
And yeah, rook King
And
G1.
now... No,
She goes bishop D3 anyway. Hold on, and now maybe knight F2. Knight
now
F2.
knight F2.
No.
That looks really good. So knight F2, queen F2, rook E1 steals the deal for black. And she takes
she's
it.
going for it.
Absolute
Oh my
demolition
God.
of white.
She's back. She is Katerina Lachner that everybody knows. Very strong and rapid and bleeds. Very sharp. Nicely played this game.
You can even
totally outplayed.
You can even feel while watching this game the adrenaline pumping in Lagno's veins, right? She's so angry. I mean, like sportingly angry that she didn't manage to play the best game. And this kind of game is exactly what she needed. Because not only Lagno, by the looks, is going to equalize the score in the tiebreaks, leading us to a very exciting fourth game of the tiebreaks, she definitely will have psychological advantage. Because how do you recover from something like this with a white color? This is essentially knocked down and you have to get up.
Artur. And you're going to the last game in this match where you have lost a game just like that. It's just psychologically so hard for Tan Zhongyi, and she should be very strong to come back after this game. And I was just thinking that this game is so perfect that maybe Artur, you can show that one to your students too, how to destroy not castled king and how to attack the king which is not castle. That's the topic of this game, and it's just a study game for sure.
Absolutely incredible game so far, and this is going to be a game for Tan Zhongyi to forget, and I'm pretty sure by now she already knows this game is pretty much over. And how to gather the thoughts for the next game? Because she will have only 10 minutes after such a devastating blow, rook e3, the game continues for a while.
Yeah, rook e3. Our chat says that Lachno's accuracy is almost 100%, which is crazy.
I think you can even play rook e3, queen e3, knight d... Oh, wait, knight e1 drops the knight. My bad. I saw queen d3.
Knight g4, yeah.
Knight g4. Okay, knight g4 maybe. Knight g4, attacking with a checkmate threat, queen g3, and even this should be completely winning, like takes, rook e8, rook e1, these pieces the black has.
Can I show off a little bit, Artur? Instead of taking on g3, black can play queen to f6, and if you take the knight on g4, there's queen to d4.
Oh my goodness, this is so lovely. I think that white simply wants to forget about this game as quickly as possible, right? It really rings me a bell how these situations are usually handled in tennis, right? I mean, when you have a bad score in, and obviously the big tennis, let's say you're leading the charge, your opponent is leading the charge something like with 2 breaks, something like 3-0, 4-0, you already start to concentrate for the next game, and maybe this is already the best choice for Tan Zhongyi because she suspects that she's being completely outplayed here and maybe mentally already start to prepare for the decisive game.
That's right. So we have incredible moves so far from Katerina. Knight g4 is another move she's going through. We had this already on the board. And now it's white's call to make a decision. Queen g3 seems to be the move. Yeah,
and queen f6 is the coldest move, really. I mean, maybe queen g3, rook e8 is immediately winning the game on the spot, but white will be very happy if she can get a position where she's only down a pawn.
Yeah, that's actually true. Queen g3, hg, and rook to e8. How you're going to stop that checkmate? Oh, bishop.
I think bishop f3. Yeah, I think so.
F3, yeah.
Takes, rook e8, bishop f3, or maybe even bishop b7.
But then check and knight e3 check, and you
but the rook on h1 is protected. That's the problem.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So I could even play here. And the bishop on b7 conveniently defends the rook on h1. Probably Katerina is going to play queen f6, so she's thinking what happens if white plays something like knight b5, or...
Oh my god, queen f6 drops the bishop on d3.
Oh! Oh,
it's
that's
beautiful, but it drops the bishop on d3.
I also didn't see that. Wow.
No. We got too excited. You got too excited.
Oh, that's too exciting then. Oh my, I trusted your idea too much.
Don't trust me.
Sneak
No,
attack.
yeah, I didn't see that. I did not see that the bishop on d3 is just...
Well, let's just hope Katerina sees that, because if she would miss this game, that would be a major hot trick.
No, I remember the World Championship match against Ju and Jun. She blundered the queen. She played queen g6 and knight took g6 in the very end. And that was the blunder that I remember myself. And let's not do that. Let's not sacrifice another piece like that. So it means that queen g3 is pretty much forced to take on g3.
All right. So maybe the game is not even immediately winning, because clearly I think that Katerina, when she went for this position, she felt the game is very close to win. Now, these pieces for black are under attack, and we would have to go back to this sequence. Where was this? After knight f2, rook e3, that apparently she missed some immediate killer blow. Right? And again, maybe she slightly rushed, because look at the clock. She had so much time on the clock. But you could, of course, understand Katerina. She's feeling the adrenaline pumping her when she wants to demolish the opponent as quickly as she can. But with rushing slightly with this decision to play knight g4, maybe she also hallucinated the queen f6, drops the bishop on d3, and now she's...
Wait, I have another move, and trust me with that. Queen e7 is another move. I drop both pieces on g4 and d3, but I have very nice move, queen to e1, after queen f1, queen to e3 checkmate.
Lovely. Yeah, queen e7, it's really great. Maybe white can still play h3. You know, and the line still continues. And since those pieces are under attack, I guess you would have to give a check. Takes, bishop b7, and white still lives. White still lives. So this is not great news for Katerina. I'm sure that she's still very close to winning this position, but now she might regret having not invested this time before. So again, dear viewers, if you're looking for a way to improve your game, unfortunately, this game shows that learn to invest the time at the critical moments. But I can definitely understand it, right? You feel this
Artur,
pressure.
I know what was the move there. Our chat says it was -7 and now it's -1, which is still very good here. But shall we go back at the point when knight g4 has been played?
You mean here?
Yeah. How about knight h1? You just win exchange here.
Oh my goodness, the rook on h1 was simply
It's
under attack.
hanging. I just realized that it's hanging.
That's it? Yeah, just take the rook h1.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So knight h1, h1 was just collecting the rook. Yeah, this is, again, we're having some mutual blindness here. And I guess we are also carried away with a exciting checkmate ideas as Katerina was. Knight h1 would simply win the game on the spot, because here, I guess, king h1, exchange, and a pawn should be killing. Queen d3, I guess you just play knight f2. And again, win the game, knight g4. So Katerina was one move away just to win the game on the spot. And after knight g4, she has to work on this. And maybe now she realizes, what did I do?
What have I done wrong? That's the question very often we are asking to ourselves. But the thing is that she's now thinking way too much. She's down to 2 minutes. Once again, she's down on the clock, and Tanjongi has more time on the clock. Is this a problem? Can she just take and play rook to d8 to grab the pawn on d4, or play something like c6 at the beginning and then rook to d8?
Yes, but I think in her mind is still this move, knight h1. This is so difficult to walk past it. She's like thinking, why did I take on h1? Why didn't I take on h1? Why didn't I take on h1, right? And how do you get past this? Nerves. Nerves are really hitting in here. So Katerina is going to have to make a move sooner or later, because the clock is down. Less than 2 minutes.
That's right. Now, 1 minute 45 seconds. And guys, we have 10 seconds increment only. That's the difference between the other games that... Queen f6!
Queen f6? Is this even working?
Oh my God, bishop is hanging!
Queen f4? Wait. Is this intentional?
Yes, she sacrificed it. Hold on, what's happening? Bishop f3 now. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, she blundered a piece. This was, I was really hoping this is not going to happen. You can see that she's trying to hide her shock. Here after bishop f3, wait a second. Maybe
can we see
is still
her
good?
video, full video maybe? Oh my God.
Bishop f3, I mean, there's got to be a follow-up here. Rook e8 displayed. Is this intentional, or she intended to do this? Maybe this is still good, but it did look like a blunder. Wait, 92 is played here, and now black is simply down a piece. What a major turn of events here in this game.
This is a gift to Tanjongi to go to the second round. You can see how confused is Katerina Lagna. She was completely winning, and now she's struggling to find a move. She has only 3 pieces on the board, and there is not even a check.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So, of course, the game still continues, but now black is simply down a piece. Queen g5 here. I think White can already take on g4, played knight g3, and Tanjongi has an amazing gift out of the blue. I mean, this was not supposed to happen, and yet it did. After a very long think, the unthinkable happened, like don't blunder the piece probably on the spot. And now, after queen g4, king f2, White is not even in danger here and is calling all the shots.
Whoa. Christmas came too early for Tanjongi here, and that's indeed a gift for her. And she completely felt that she was seen always to get worse and worse position. And of course, this was a blunder from Lagna. Although it seems like she was calculating two minutes in a row.
This is a pure blindness, pure display of nerves. I mean, poor Katerina, right? Because we also had this hallucination here. Going back to this queen g3, queen f6 looked so good. Maybe she saw it, then she forgot about it. The bishop on d3 is under attack, and now she probably is very close to lose and has to really show a great character. I mean, black still has 2 pawns for the piece, right? And this still is a time trouble, but to recover from this, from being completely winning, because here, after rook e3, queen e3, black could just take the exchange on h1 and call, that's it. Make a couple of moves, win the game, move to game 4. No, now she's down a piece, down on the clock. What a heartbreaker.
What a horrible choice here from Katerina, that she was completely winning, and then also at this point when she made this choice, she could still keep it go, right? Wow, if Tanjongi wins this game, it's 2.5 already. It makes no sense to play 4th game.
If she wins, that's it. That's it. The match finishes. Tanjongi would win the match out of the... I mean, this will be one of the most insane comebacks in the history of women's chess, really. I don't recall seeing something like this lately.
I told you, Artur, I remember the game of Katerina Lagna blundered the queen on g6 against Ju Wenjun, and she lost the world championship match with that. And this, I was like, no, it's not going to happen again. And wow. But hold on, there's a chance still to make a draw here if there's some chance.
No, I think White is going to play for the win with knight g3, and also White is enjoying a huge psychological advantage. But of course, knight g3, you see threats like rook e3, the game is still not over. Also, White is still a human being. Tanjongi is still a human being. You can feel the nerves, feel the pressure. She already gave up on this game, and now suddenly she has an extra piece and chance to play for the win. Or maybe you still try to make a draw. What an insane moment here.
That's right. If you even make a draw here, just the fact that you survived in a losing position, you already started the last game with a lot of confidence. But piece is an extra piece, and obviously Tanjongi gonna try to win. So knight g3, this check is covered. There is queen d5, another check. However, black plays rook to e3 first.
Rook e3, queen c4. Yeah,
the queen d5 happening.
Queen d5 could be a check. Also important to mention here, queen c4 is on the board, but important to mention queen f5 or queen d2 would drop the rook takes on g3, and queen f5 would be under attack, and that's why queen c4 has to be played. What about h5, h4 here? Trying to win the knight on g3, which is pinned. 45 seconds for Katerina.
Whoa, Artur, look at this now, and instead of just b5, and it equalized the position fully. This is
b5.
b5, we can show that on the board. Queen to c5 or queen goes somewhere, and then rook to g3, and you get rid of this rook and you're given the checks.
She plays it.
This is insane.
She plays b5. This is insane. So once again, what's the idea? Queen c5, you play what? Rook g3?
Rook g3.
That's a
oh my god.
Oh my goodness. So queen c5, rook g3, takes queen d2 check. Let's not move these pieces because we have to see what happens here on the board. Did she manage still to escape from completely winning to very close to
She's
losing?
stealing the win here from Tanzhangi. She's stealing the win. And whoa, this is a roller coaster game. Seriously, the things are changing within one move.
I mean, you cannot write a better script for this, Keti, right? I mean, it's being totally insane. And at the moment,
Okay,
it's
the thing is, if
complete
you
roller
play-
coaster.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but if you play Queen C2 and you guard this with this move, then there is a Queen D5 and Rook G3, and you are losing the Rook on H1. So she goes with Queen C6 now.
Right.
Still looking on the back rank checkmate threats, and here the engine says go with H5, and she
H5, of
plays like an
course.
engine. Yeah.
Still makes sense. H5, H4 is incoming, and Katrina, if the stars still align, she might even still win this, because also for white, this is incredible, tense moment, and sometimes you just wish maybe just call today, have a draw, but no, I think we are going to still see the best is still coming here.
Right, I'm starting to worry here for white, because H4 is the move you cannot stop, and black is getting the knight back, and then how you are playing after it. So okay, maybe H4, but the thing is, after H4, black not necessarily takes HG right
After
away.
H4, just take the knight on G3 and that's it. You
No,
can't
the
do
thing
that.
is, Queen A8 and King H7 will be a check.
Right. I mean, I don't even know if the objective valuation of this position even makes any sense now. All that matters is the clock, and Tanzhangi is about having 30 seconds on the clock. Both players are down on half a minute on the clock, and still she played it like nothing happened. Some quiet move.
Rook F1. Her idea perhaps is to take the pawn on C7 and attack on F7 pawn.
H4.
Oh god.
I guess Rook F5, Queen G4. There might be H3 ideas. Who's even playing for the win here? I mean, I don't understand.
I don't know. Queen C7 probably here. Just make sure that you have the threat of Queen F7.
Rook F5 is Rook G3, by the way.
Yeah.
Queen takes on C7. Tanzhangi gives away the piece here. Now, the question is, if Lagno wants more than winning back the piece on G3, H takes H. I think black is just better dancing again, just like that. I mean, the safer king.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like black's king has not much worries. White king is obviously in a worse situation.
Oh, wait, Queen F7. I'm missing Queen F7. Oh, my goodness.
Tanzhangi wanted to capture this pawn, but she is not so certain. She took her hand back, but anyways, goes with Queen F7.
Queen F7. Now you need to have an accurate move. I guess there's going to be Queen trade on F5. It actually looks quite drawish, but I'm afraid to announce it because we have had so many up and downs in this game that
Queen F5.
let's just watch
yeah.
this. Queen F5,
Queen F5.
I already feel you have to do this. The king is so weak. The clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. Queen F5.
Queen F5. Oh my god, this is happening. Is this game gonna end in a draw? Very
This one
likely.
still, I think both players will be quite happy about this. I mean, despite the fact that Lagno missed the victory, I mean, still, the match still continues. After Rook takes on F5, we have material equality on the board, but wait, I mean, G
Are you
takes?
taking on H2 and dropping B2 pawn? Are you taking B5 and play something against Rook H3 here? Rook H3, you keep the H2 pawn.
All right, huge moment here. Rookie to check. I'm not sure. Maybe Rook H3 was better. Again, extremely difficult to calculate it on seconds. Now, King H6, G5, G4, G3. Is black winning this? If somebody's playing this for the win, it's only black here. It's not white.
That's right. Maybe it's time to push D5 and sacrifice this pawn for H2. D5, G5, D6, G4, D7, G3. And
Well,
Rook
let's just
H5
watch
saves
this.
the
Let's
game.
just watch this. I don't think we have time to do any analysis here. You can see the clock is ticking. Katrina
King
is down to
H6.
something like 20 seconds.
Okay, she wants to bring the king all the way to H3 to threaten
H1.
checkmate, but it's a bit slow.
Here we go. D5. White pushes the D pawn. G5. Here we go. It's a race. The race is on.
D6,
D6.
has to be played. G4,
G4.
D7, G3.
Just push it. Just push it. Who's faster? G4. There you go. So the trend is G4, G3, Rook E1, H1, checkmate. How do you stop
Maybe
that?
Rook B3 just stop that happening.
Maybe Rook D5, rook D1. Maybe this is the idea how white stops this.
Yeah.
I don't see anything else. Do you? I don't.
I don't
Wait,
see really.
rook D5. What do you do after rook D5?
Seconds on the clock for Tan Zhongyi. She has to make a move.
Rook
4
D5 is on the
seconds,
board?
and she made rook D5. I think that's the most accurate move.
Wait a second, but who is not playing for the win again? Because after rook D5, rook D1, white is playing D7, D8. These pawns are stopped. Maybe Katerina just misplayed it once again.
That's interesting. G3, rook to D1. Maybe it's time to get the... the king is too far. You can play king G6, king F7. It's too slow. You have to play rook E8, rook D8.
I can't watch. I mean, already rook E8 is feeling the necessary move. There you go. She falls back. D7, D8, king G2, king G3. Those pawns are going to start to fall. And this is what we are getting here. Rook E8, D7, rook D8, king G2. Thank you for the pawns on G3 and H2. Maybe black already needs to try to secure the draw. No, rook G8 is played. D7 doesn't change a thing.
Yeah, it's an accurate move because now you go rook D8 and after king takes, you can take D7 pawn right away. Because you can... Yeah, rook d7, and then you promote the queen.
Yeah, but white is simply now up a pawn in this endgame, having draws. It's absolutely insane how the situation here changes. It was first Lagno completely crushing, then it was Tan Zhongyi having the next piece, then again it was Lagno who was trying to win this, and now again it's Tan Zhongyi who is trying to win this. Insane. Rook h1, 15 seconds.
That's
Can't trade rooks, can you?
Rook
Very
to d3,
precise.
check, king h2, and oh, okay,
Should be
king
a draw.
g5. She
Should be
knows
a
that
draw.
she needs to bring the king in the game.
At the moment, I think that black is so active. The rook on d3, rook b3 is so active that 2 pawns against 1 at the queen side. This probably is going to mean it's a draw. And here Tan Zhongyi tries to cut off the black king by playing rook c1, rook f1, rook f2. Sorry,
Yeah,
rook
this
g1, rook
is
d2.
I think the most accurate the game I have seen with so many difficulties still. They are holding it. They are still holding it.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be a draw. I mean, after so much excitement, here Tan Zhongyi has managed to gather more time on the clock. 1 minute. King g1. The black king, I think, already can run towards the queen side. King d4, king e4, king c4, king b3. I don't see white winning this.
No.
Maybe after b4, a4, again, black can start to get
Turns the
really
table
ambitious.
again. Rook b2, rook b3. Yes, it's incredible. You have to cut the white's king. Maybe it's some point to play rook c2 just to make sure that nothing happens to.
Is this game ever going to finish? I mean, it's absolutely insane. I mean, rook d1.
So interesting check, right? If you play king f2, then rook to d2. If you play king h2, this is too far.
King f2? Yeah, I guess rook d2
b2,
should be good.
I guess. Rook b1, sorry, rook b1.
Rook b1. Oh, rook b1. Nice. And after b4, be ambitious and play a4.
That's right.
This might even play for the win here. So king f2 is played. This allows rook b1 to be played. I mean, still, of course...
Oh,
it's
she's not going for that.
Oh, no. So she's going for the pawn endgame. Yeah, that's going to be a draw.
Yeah, anyway, after rook to b1, there's rook
Is
b8,
it?
rook g8.
Wait. Is it? Is black going to make it? Yeah, black is going to make it.
Yeah. After taken on g2?
Yeah, take on g2, king e3, b4,
Yeah.
takes. Yeah, this is going to be a draw.
King
Wait,
d4.
10 seconds? No.
Ooh, she didn't
Wow.
go for that.
She doesn't go for that. She doesn't trust her calculation. Maybe there's something wrong with that.
I
don't
don't
know
believe
what.
there is something wrong with that.
I think we have no time to analyze that. Why keep the pawn on the board? Why give chances?
Yeah, that's a bit suspicious
King
situation.
f5.
Now rook can be
fall
activated.
back? Okay, this makes no sense really. Okay, since we have the live board, we are going to show you very quickly. King f2, rook f1, king f1. I think this was takes. King e3. The king was running very, very close to these pawns. I mean, you can't stop it. So king g3. King goes here. You can't stop it. I mean, there's a4, king c2, king b2, so b4 would have been simply a draw. Very surprising choice by Katerina. Now white is activating the pieces, is simply enjoying the fact she can play this for the victory for free.
That's right, rook to d2 now cuts the rook from the d file, and White wants to get the white king closer to the pawn and then start to push the pawns. King to
Still
e3.
should be a draw, right?
It should be a draw.
Right, but now white is the one who is still pressing this. The king is cut off, quite unfortunately. I think at some point black can even trade rooks correctly, rook d5, but she already had a much easier situation to do this before. Now this is not so obvious. I guess rook d5 at the right moment simply should allow black to connect the king towards the queen side. So something like
That's
king d1,
right. I
rook d5.
dislike the last move, king to e5 here. It's just, I think king e3 was making a lot of sense, but okay.
Okay, I think you can just trade rooks, right? Unless I'm terribly bad in the king
you can take rook c2, rook takes d2, king d4, king d2, king c4. You cannot improve that position.
So here Katerina is checking it once again. I mean, it should be
17
pretty-
seconds.
should be
Can she make
pretty
this
straightforward.
decision?
And she does it.
She's doing like that. Okay.
Yeah, she's doing it. Okay,
So
still-
smart, because after rook c5, king c5 is an opposition, long opposition.
Right. Distant opposition, I think that's the proper word. Or
Yeah,
long
distant
opposition. I'm not really sure. No, I think it's distant opposition.
Yeah, it can be.
All right. Finally, I think we are approaching to the end of the game, and despite the fact that white is going to be up a pawn in a pawn endgame, the a pawn, as far as we know, doesn't win the game. There's the stalemate trick in the end. So
That's right, and white cannot improve this position, king's position, anyway. It's
No, this is not
impossible
possible
because
to win
b2
with
pawn
white.
is also the weakness. Yeah, you can always find to sneak in with king c4, king b3.
wow, but those emotions here, and here we see a very nice zoom in. Rook takes on c2, should be pretty
King
easy
C4.
draw. Takes, king c4, that's an opposition for you. Of course, Katerina wants to make double sure. This is a draw. All right, she takes
Wow,
it. King
she
takes on
takes
c2, king c4, maybe a couple of moves for white. And this is going to lead to a draw. King c5, distant opposition. I'm not even sure if you need that. Maybe even don't. Just play king d4, king c4.
Yeah, possible. Like, it's impossible to lose this game. King
Okay,
b3
king
also
B3.
makes a lot of sense. King b3, king c4 now. Even if you lose the opposition, white cannot improve because you are playing king d4, king c4. White cannot really enter to black's position. And this
D2.
hand gesture is like draw.
Draw!
Okay. Whoa!
Well played.
What was that?
What a
Incredible. I cannot really recall even the arbiter got confused. He put the king on e3 and king e4. That was little detail of how strange was the situation. Whoa, what a game. Artur, I suggest that we don't take the break, but instead we take a look to whole game to understand what the hell just happened.
I have no idea, Keti. I mean, it was so intense, so crazy. Maybe
How many
let's
moves
just
have been played, first of all? Almost
71.
70.
71 moves got to be made, but in order so that you are on the same page, what is the current situation in this absolutely insane match? It's 2-1. Tanjanki is still leading the match. One victory in the first game, then another draw, and the third game was absolute roller coaster. But let's maybe try to go back move by move, because I do believe we have still something like 10 minutes.
That's right. And our press officer, not press officer, anti-cheating officer is now adjusting the board. And the arbiter also helps her to, they're getting ready for the next game. Meanwhile, we can bring back our digital board and take a look to the game once again, from the first move to the last.
All right. Let's wait for that.
And yeah, meanwhile, this is the situation where Tanjangi still keeps the leader's position in the match with 1 point. So, Artur, that means that Katerina Lachno is now in must-win situation.
More drama, I feel, is upcoming here. So G3 idea, Keti, was a very interesting idea. So white was going for some sort of a Catalan. Here, Katerina played really aggressive in the center. Knight e5, I love this move, but bishop c5, apparently this was the move that the Chinese players simply either did not remember or did not know. And bishop e3 was not good response, because after the very powerful bishop d7, queen d1, knight f to g4, suddenly it was black who immediately started to take over the game. And from here, things started to go downhill incredibly fast. I mean, you could even feel like you're tumbling down the mountain with incredibly speed, and black's attack was just becoming stronger and stronger with every single move. Knight g6, great move. Queen h4, great move. Bishop d4, ripping apart the position. Rook e8, great move. Bishop f5, threading. Bishop d3, rook e2. Totally crushing white's defenses here. Rook e1, still bishop d3. Another powerful shot. Knight x on f2, meeting queen x on f2 with rook takes on e1. And now the unthinkable happened. Rook e3. So rook e3, black is obviously easily winning here. Take it. Now, what happened here? I don't know. I mean, why did you just take the rook at h1? But I didn't see that, Keti, during the game. I was looking at knight g4.
I didn't see the moment chat said that it was -7 and now it's -1. Then I was like, okay, where was that moment? And when I got back to the few moves, I was like, whoa, the rook is actually trapped there. It's actually hanging. And imagine you make all these very strong moves, and those moves were just creating tension, and in the end you just have a free exchange here and you don't take that, because we were also busy here to calculate these kind of fancy checkmate ideas. We saw so many nice variations here. So Katerina, with short time on the clock, with pressure that you can't imagine that she is having now at this match, starting with the 0 point, but starting with the lose, she also miscalculated and totally did not see that rook on h1 was hanging.
She did play knight g4, and we initially were like, oh, what a great move, which immediately kills the game on the spot. Keti first suggested queen f6 with a very beautiful idea. Queen g4, queen e4. And then she was like, oh my goodness, the bishop on d3 is under attack. And that's when I said, please don't do this, Katerina, because it's going to be a heartbreaker. Well, 3 minutes later, Katerina is trying to figure out where's her victory. Queen g3, rook e8, or queen e7 also is a move, and she does play queen f6, completely blundering idea that after queen d3, queen f4, bishop f3, rook e8, white simply plays knight e2, and that's it. Black's attack is simply over. I mean, still some chances, but white has managed to consolidate the pieces. And what happened next, Keti, was
Artur,
complete madness.
I think the move queen f4, she played so fast. I don't think that she was bluffing with that. Probably she was calculating all this line. But the move bishop f3 is so suspicious. I think she missed that one. Or knight e2. She missed one of these moves. Bishop f3 or knight e2.
I could even feel the horror in her face during these moves, because she was like, "Oh my goodness, what did I just do?" Right? You could even literally feel that watching it from the distance. So the game proceeded with the following position, where white is up a piece, but black has 2 pawns and some chances to go after the king. Still, psychology would play a major role. King g2, queen g5, knight g3, rook e3, and now here it was incredibly difficult for Tanjan Key to find the correct moves, because white is threatening, black is threatening h5, h4, queen d5 check is an idea, queen f5, queen d2 meet, rook takes on g3, and now watch this. Queen c4, here
Decent move.
b5. Excellent move here by Katerina Lagno, which dislodged the white queen. Now h5, rook f1, h4. Black wins back the piece. Queen c7. Take it here. Queen f5. And about here, we felt, okay.
Artur, can I suggest here the move? Because it was an engine move and looks very tempting. Instead of queen f5, engine suggests rook to f5. And shall we see what's going on here?
Oh my goodness, there's rook h5 checkmate. Check?
Yeah, and we have to find a proper square for the... If king goes on h3, it's a checkmate, rook h2. If king goes on h2, that's, I believe, still a checkmating stuff. Maybe if king goes g1, then g takes h2, still checkmate. King f1 is only move, yeah.
Yeah, but how can you play this in time trouble?
And g2?
G2, I just take
G2, it. G1.
And now white is up something, a pawn. In a queen endgame.
Interesting.
Wow. I mean, on the clock, when your clock is ticking, you are down to something like 20 seconds. You play rook f5, ignore that your king is in the middle of a dangerous attack. How do you do it, right? Incredibly difficult to pick it up. It didn't happen. So here, Queen f5 was played, and we had a feeling this is going to be a draw, probably. But here's the interesting thing. After g takes to h2, black is threatening to win a pawn on b2, and it was Tanjanki who decided to take on b5. Now, I'm not sure what was happening here, Keti, because I think rook e2 check is definitely a move, but also rook h3 is a move. Trying to push forward the g-pawn. Either way, rook e2 here, king h6, might have been a waste of time. Perhaps rook d2 was saving in tempo. Now it's difficult to tell. And we got to this position, right? We got to this position. You could feel that it was black who was playing for the win because having these advanced pawns, and no, actually it's white who has this d pawn very far advanced. So we got to this position. King takes on g3, rook takes on d7. You can't take it. The pawn on h2 is going to advance. And this position should have been an easy draw, right? Because the white king is so far away from the queen side.
Right.
And yes, somehow the game was continuing.
Yeah, somehow the game was not still done. And this is the occasion when all of us can remember that the 2 pawns versus 1 pawn, you can still make a draw in the opponent game, yes, when you have king activity.
Right. So here after rook g2 was probably the cleanest way for a black try to make a draw. Not try to, but simply make a draw because the king is going to make it faster. b4 takes,
Arthur, there's also a4 move there.
You want to be ambitious, yeah?
Little
you mean
bit,
here?
yes.
No,
Yes.
here it's still a draw. I mean, either way, the game was in the end a drawing pawn endgame. And while we still have a couple of minutes, perhaps we can show you, dear viewers, another highlight produced by our amazing producers. What is happening in
We are back, and this is FIDE, Women's Canadian Tournament Full B tie breaks between Tanjangi and Katerina. After 3 games, 3 exciting games, Tanjangi is keeping the leader's position, and we're going to have the last game in the rapid segment. And we can take a look now at the tournament tables. As you guys can see, Tanjangi scored the first victory with white pieces in the first round. Second game was more or less calm game after all these 3, and the third game was a total roller coaster, which in the end ended with a draw. Here we are in the studio, I would normally say, but we're not in the studio, but instead we are from for this commentary from our homes, me and Artur. And once again, Artur, we had this situation with the photographer and the Tanjangi when photographer wanted the best shot of Chinese player.
I think she was smiling. She was in good spirits because there is nothing for Tanjanku to be unhappy about. Okay, maybe she had some winning chances after this major blunder by Katrina, but she's still in the lead, right? She still is leading the match 2-1 in the tiebreak. So all she needs to do now is just to make a draw. And also for Katrina, I think not everything is over for her because, I mean, after this dramatic miss of an easy win, she was almost losing probably at some spots. So still not to lose this, still to come back. Still,
Right.
she still has chances in this match. So I think both players should be pretty much happy that this roller coaster is over.
Absolutely. And I also have a feeling that Tanjanki is the one who is the happiest out of this two with the draw, as he starts the last game with black pieces with extra point, which means that Katerina Lachno is now in must-win situation. We have seen that Katerina now is not on the board yet. She is just coming right now, slowly drinking some of the water. And that's very interesting situation, as Tanjongi was 4 minutes before the game at the board. So she did not use this time fully for consulting with the coach.
Yeah, and here we go, the fourth game. The players had 10 minutes to gather the thoughts. I mean, if that's even possible to do it in such a short frame, here Katrina has one more final chance to take it to the next segment of the tiebreaks. Things are really simple for her. Win it, try to level the score. Don't win it, you go home. Really so simple. Also for Tanjanki, quite a difficult spot to be in, but I have a feeling there's more drama coming here. And there we go. The game is starting.
Game is starting. This is the handshake that we're looking for. Last game in the rapid segment, we have Sicilian once again. What will be Lachno's choice? Is she going to play bishop e5? Yes, we have once again Rosalima on the board.
So they are repeating pretty much the same that happened before, where Katrina managed to trick her opponent. And also I suspect that Tanjanki's team was working very hard to figure out what's the best response. And there you go, not knight f6. She's not going to repeat the same line. Bishop g4 is an improvement, and definitely you don't want to step into the same not great line again. Although actually in that game she did get a good position after the opening. Did she not, Keti?
She got, and she's the one who also changed the third game repertoire, right? She won the first game with the same opening, but it was her again to change the opening. So I think she's quite resourceful. She says that I'm so well prepared for this match that I can play whatever I want. And bishop g4 is something that we will have a totally different direction than we had previously in the second round.
All right. So bishop g4 is played, and Katrina is thinking about her choices.
Right.
Here, I guess d4 is not possible because black has managed to create a pin.
Yes, but I think it's still possible. Just after a6, you have to make up your mind to take this knight on c6 or not.
Right. So what do you do here? I mean, h3, of course, is a very, very tempting move. Try to kill off this bishop, but I think black already played bishop g4 with the intention to take on f3. Maybe knight b to d2 is a move to replace the other knight on f3.
That sounds like a good plan. And then to play h3 and ask the bishop, like, where are you going? If you take my knight on f3, then I'm going to get another knight on f3, and I don't ruin my pawn structure. I don't move my queen. She goes h3 right away and gets the pair of bishop advantage.
There you go. h3, bishop takes on f3, queen takes on f3, I guess.
That's right.
And now what? There's been another move, knight f6, I think.
Yes, that's right.
There you go. All right. So White's idea, I think, here is normally pretty much the same. I mean, you want to, at some point, play d4, get a very strong pawn center, and back it with two bishops. But Black is very flexible with her development. Also, extra ideas I see here might be bishop takes on c6, push e5, right. Try to go after the pawn on c6. Mm-hmm. What do you do here?
Yeah, that's very interesting. She's going e5 right away with wow, they're blitzing.
That is a
the mix.
prep, but she plays it very, very fast. Yeah, so e5, d takes, bishop takes, b takes, queen takes, and knight e7 played very quickly. This seems to be a pretty forcing sequence of moves.
That is right. And after all these moves that has been played, still we have the equal pawn for the moment, but Black has this weakness on c5, White has this weakness on d3. And so far, we cannot really define who is here better and who is worse.
All right. I think that was knight a3.
Knight a3, that's right.
Knight a3, short castle here. And it's quite an odd position, Keti. I mean, Black has ruined pawn structure. The bishop on g7 is staring at the pawn on e5. But then again, I mean, you look at the position, White has some issues with the pawn on d3 as well. And what matters in the end is that it's just material equality.
Yeah, that's the most important. Another thing is for Tan Zhongyi here, 2 results like this, while Katerina just needs to win. Nothing else is saving her today. And even if she wins the game, then we're going to have the tie breaks continuation with the Blitz, 2 games of the Blitz, which is also another level of the excitement for us and for the viewers as well. But for the moment, we just started this game, and I believe that we are just a half an hour maximum away to know the result.
Keti, but did I see it correctly on the clock? Does Tan Zhongyi have 60 minutes and 43 seconds on the clock? Again, she has managed to cook up extra 1.5 minutes on top of the original time. Incredible preparation.
True. Yeah,
wow,
we can
1650.
Wow.
Insane. Knight c4, she's blitzing out these moves like there's no tomorrow. Rook c8 played very quickly, pushing away the White queen. I guess queen c7 idea to be followed next. White has this weakness on d3, and I really question, was this necessary by Katerina? Wait, that didn't happen, right?
No, we have this position right now. White is
getting
thinking.
some g3 move. I'm pretty sure it didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's just the thing. Imagine how hard it is for Katerina to face the opponent who blitz out the moves. And very good moves, actually, and she still wins the match. And you kind of feel like, oh no, every game I'm getting into home preparation of Tan Zhongyi.
All right. Also, I would have to go back to the c5. I mean, I'm not sure if you have to do this. Of course, I mean, there's also the preparation from Katerina, which I don't know what it is. But if your opponent plays it so quickly, you probably assume she has prepared every single forcing combination. And is this position really where you need to force things? I was thinking about queen e2, bishop e3, knight e2, knight f3, d4. You know, probably Black is doing all right, but it's not forcing matters. But e5 forces a lot of things, a lot of trades. And for Black, it's easy to play it. So here, after queen e4, maybe Katerina might regret it, that she went for such a forcing combination. But, I mean, I guess the position is still okay.
The position is still very much okay. Here, Black has a bit of issue with the pawn structure. Pawn on e5 stops the bishop on g7. Pawn on c5, a7. There's like a lot of violence. That's how we call that. And on the other hand, White has this weakness on d3. However, this is not something sharp that we would like to see for sure.
Again, very fast moves. Queen c7, rook e1, rook ft8, played very quickly on the board. There you go. Because this black rook really belongs on d8 after whatever is going to happen with the central pawn. The rook on d8 is targeting the pawn on d3. Now you need a bishop move. You need a bishop move, obviously, because the bishop on c1 is not protected. Or maybe, what about some crazy ideas of a4, a5, a6?
I do like that to get the space advantage on the queen side. I also like bishop g5 idea to ask Black, like, where are you going to play? Because this pawn on e7 is hanging, and this is a beautiful manner in which is you showed on the board to go after e5 pawn. And imagine if Black has to play f6 to guard this pawn on e5, the bishop on g7 will be locked off.
f4 is also a move. Yeah, I see it in the suggestion. Definitely, it's also a move to be considered. I guess Black is going to take it. if this is going to happen on push e5, leading to mash trades, which really favors black because, again, she's leading in a mash. She needs nothing else than just a draw from this game.
That's right. In the YouTube chat, we have the comment, battle of nerves. That is exactly how we can describe this match.
Yeah, but I'm absolutely sure that there is going to be drama. There's definitely going to be more drama. It just can't be. There you go, 8-4. I like this. I mean, here, Katerina is trying to complicate patterns, push the pawn on a6, because you never know, right? Maybe at some point in an endgame, this pawn on a6 could be a couple of steps away from putting a new queen on the board.
That's right. And we cannot actually play knight b6 here to trade the knights, as the pawn on e5 right now can be hanging. And the thing is that you can take the pawn in the end on d3, but then your e7 pawn, which is a weakness, is also something that is hanging for the moment.
Right. And something like a5 is something you don't want to play in general, because this pawn on a5 now becomes a very serious target. So if black wants to stop this pawn, I think it might be a6, let's say. Whatever black does, let's say whatever. I mean, king f8, a5, I'm going to stop this pawn on a6 so that this pawn on a7 is not becoming a target in an endgame, and play a6, which might open the door for white to play something like rook a3, rook b3, and maybe do something at the b file at some point.
I would not be surprised, because Katerina Lachno really likes to rook lift. We have seen rook a5, rook c5 in the first game that she did that idea. So she really likes to include the rooks before the end game into the game. It is interesting how white is getting here some space advantage on the queen side. Then she will develop the bishop. I don't know, bishop g5, bishop h4, bishop g3, or bishop e3 right away. And at the point she attacks the pawn on e5, black will have to make decision to play f6.
Maybe, yeah, maybe black is going to have to play f6. And here's the thing, as soon as you play f6 to secure the pawn on e5, you exclude this bishop from the game. And I don't think that black wants to do this unless there's no choice. So she would love to do something like bishop g5, bishop h4, bishop j3, allow white to take on e5 many times, and then snatch on d3 and get back this pawn on d3. So the position, I guess, is about balanced.
There was nice scale of the draw errors, Artur.
I know. I'm practicing.
Practicing. We saw the body language of Katerina Lachno, who is sitting back on the chair and having more like relaxed posture, and she knows that she's slightly better here. Oh, knight b6.
She's trying to liquidate. She's trying to liquidate this into something simpler. And knight b6 makes sense. So knight e5, very big question. What happens now?
Bishop e5.
Takes.
Queen e5, queen e5, rook e5, rook d3. And
wait, but this is so obvious. I see the check on d1, but first I have to check. Is this a move? Take, check.
Takes, rook d1, king h2.
How do you exploit the spin? It's not very obvious to me. Although I don't see also how white is going to easily unpin. I mean, maybe even c4 could be a move.
There is knight c4, knight d2, knight b3 ideas.
Definitely a move to consider, but maybe also white doesn't need to allow that. And after rook takes on d3, play something like bishop h6, try to imprison the black rook on g8. The pawn on e7 is now under attack. And let's say you play something, what do you play? Maybe rook c7, a5. This game is on. And I'm absolutely sure that Katerina here is looking at this option, but she's also a bit concerned. Maybe she simplifies the position too much. Right, you make so many trades so early in the game in a must-win situation, and she does it. She goes for knight e5.
Yeah, it's a pawn. She's accepting that we have massive trade of the pieces, and in the end, we're going to have two rooks and knight versus bishop. Black is obviously very active with this rook on d file, and now at this point, white has to ask herself, am I going to take on e7? Am I going to play a5 first? Maybe something like bishop to h6, bishop to e3. A lot of candidate moves here for Katerina Lachno.
Absolutely. So maybe rook takes on e7 is a very critical move to check, because you need to figure out what's happening here after rook d1. And I think that Katerina went for this position because she feels she still has choices here, right? Here, after the black's move knight b6, she realized she's not going to get far with this weakness on d3, so maybe knight e5 forces too many things, but there's nothing better. So here, after rook takes on d3, she can still choose. She's not sure if she's going to take on e7 or play bishop h6 and try to maybe cut off the black king from the game.
Yeah, that's right. Artur, shall we go to this line, rook to e7, which looks the move that maybe white going to play, rook to d1, king to h2. And at this point, this knight c4, knight d2 idea with knight b3 to win this piece. So here, it's I think this is very interesting move, as white can take a7 pawn.
Okay.
And after knight d2, this is the question, can white take this knight on d2?
Well, I'm threatening perpetual check here.
Yes, it's really bad for white. It's almost losing the game, right? Draw is not an option. So you have to take on d2 now. If you play rook to d7, you're gonna drop this exchange anyway with knight f1.
This
and
could be a
e4.
decent chance. Yeah, this could be a decent chance to play for the win. I mean, 2 pawns for the exchange. A weakened king, maybe bishop h6 also works at some point. I would definitely consider this.
Yeah, now maybe you lose the pawn on b2, like rook b1 or rook a2. But how about b4 to create the passed pawns right away?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe b4 takes, and now I guess black is going to play something like king g7, then rook c2, rook b2. It looks very serious. This definitely looks very serious choice. Maybe after rook e7 there's something else, like take here. Knight a4 is not a threat. Knight c4 is definitely a move. But there could be other moves. There could be other moves as well here. And that's why here it's extremely, extremely important to calculate precisely. This is why, dear viewers, you're training for years to calculate properly. You cannot guess. I mean, you can't like say, I'm going to play rook e7 and things going to work it out. Yeah?
Yeah,
No.
it's something okay there. it's
You can't do
not
that.
a
You
good
have to
choice.
calculate. You have to calculate very quickly, very fast. And Katerina Lagno is one of the fastest players in the world, right? Again, to remind you, she's 3-time World Blitz champion. She's also a former World Rapid champion. She's very good at these accelerated time controls. Despite the fact that she's behind in this match, 1 against 2, she needs desperately to win with the white color. This is a moment where she can shine and show that she's one of the best fast accelerated time control players.
That's right, and we can once again give a shout out to Tan Zhongyi for playing very fast this game, as she's having 14 minutes and Lagno has less than 7 minutes, which means that Tan Zhongyi has double time on the clock. At some point, this can be a factor, but for the moment, if Lagno gets huge advantage out of this position, it will be easier for her to play. And I think rook to e7 is the first line now Lagno is calculating to grab some material advantage.
Or bishop h6. But maybe after bishop h6...
I'm not sure at bishop h6, because knight d5 then.
Yeah, knight e5. This line could still continue with c4. I'm not even sure it's knight e5. Maybe it's something like rook c7. f6, king f7 is the idea to bring the king closer. And she's trying to evaluate. She knows this is maybe the turning point. Not maybe the turning point, but a very critical moment in her attempt try to come back in this match. And rook takes on e7. There's just no coming back. That's it. I mean, if you say A, be ready to say B, C, D as well after that.
That's true. So she has spent already how long, Artur, for this move?
5 minutes and 40 seconds for Katerina Lagno. But again, you can't really blame her. She's taking her time. I have a feeling she's going to take on e7 because bishop h6 is winning nothing on the spot. So rook e7, really deep thing for Katerina here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, king f1.
Oh, whoa. This doesn't stop. Why? Black to pin on the first rank. I don't like this move at all. Because like after king e2, Artur, you can play rook to g1 and still keep the pressure on the first rank.
Wait, I mean, I didn't see this move. It makes sense, of course, to activate the king. But we didn't have any chance to evaluate the position after rook g1. Now you gotta take on e7. I mean, this has got to be, right? Because if you don't take on e7 right away, then I think white is simply worse, right? There's the pin on the first rank. Maybe the idea for Katrina is to play b3. Oh, wait, just a second. What about b3 here? Maybe the idea is to play b3, kill the knight. No, actually that makes no sense, to be honest. I think b3 is going to be rook takes on g2. Let me just show it to you. b3, rook takes on, what was it? Rook g2, rook takes on e7 is knight e5. Although the line, of course, could continue still. With rook a7, knight c3, king f3, and white is relying on the power of the bishop. And there you go, b3 is on the board. It just really reminds me, like, again, like I said, this thing about Hikaru, right? She plays something else, incredibly difficult to predict, amazing skill. But like, no.
some extra resource.
Maybe Hikaru is coaching her, I don't know. Probably not, right?
No, because he's playing himself at the Tara still, which is Rapid in Blitz tournament, so... This is a superpower. We know that he plays classical chess and then plays Title Tuesday and wins both of them, but this is extra superpower that he plays a tournament and then he coaches the other player.
Right, so maybe here Black can play the positional e6. E6, let's just show it on the board. E6, bishop b2. Ah, look at that. Checkmate.
What?
Yeah, checkmate to the rook.
Is at the end.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe there's some intermezzo moves like f6 or knight e7. So here, like, no
Not really. Then rook just goes back on whatever, like e2, e1, and you just take the rook.
Maybe. No,
at this time,
I think here. Maybe
at this
here
time, she's gonna
f3.
take the rook for sure.
There could be f6 here. So I'm
here,
not really
okay,
sure.
g5 square is okay.
Yeah, so this could be the idea. So b3, very deep concept. And again, for Tanzhanki, she has to calculate a lot of things because, let's say, e6, bishop b2, she has to figure out, can she take on g2? Because take, perhaps this endgame is worse. Is it? Like, you know, I don't know. I mean, there could be c4. You have to calculate what happens after a5. Exactly.
97.
Now, probably...
Artur, there's no 97 with that attack? The rook?
I missed something, right?
97.
And here?
And just, I don't know, take.
Yeah, I might even give up this pawn on c3 to activate my bishop and get to the pawn on a7. So many choices. I mean, how do you make this choice? How do you make the correct choice here? Of course, you can try to calculate as much as you can, but I think here you definitely want to trust your gut instinct. If it's saying even something in this position. She wants to liquidate to a draw, that's sure. There's no easy way. b3, the entire plan of king f1, king e2, b3, I think she didn't expect this. So now, how do you make a choice here?
Yeah, interesting. We have e6, knight d5 idea. We have s4 idea with black. I think those two moves are the moves that Tanzhanki is considering right now.
What you mean here, c4?
c4, yeah.
And what if I play a5? Oh, wait, the line still continues. No? Oh, wait, takes, rook c3. Okay, this is ridiculous. It doesn't work?
No, we don't go there.
Here?
How about we go knight to d7?
I take?
Right, and...
Okay, what is this?
Knight b3 is a threat.
Yeah, knight b3 is a huge threat.
Nice.
I don't know. Maybe this is even possible. Takes. With what do you take? Knight b3, bishop b2. Is this so obvious? Because the bishop, if it's going to come back to life, it's going to be dominating the board.
That's right.
Probably equalish, but again, so many tricky lines to calculate. And here c4 is played by Tanzhanki. I think she's going to go for something like this. a5 looks very logical. b4 probably allows black slightly to liquidate. Let's say b4, knight a4. Take it, rook c1, and there's a good chance that a lot of things are going to be traded. So b takes on c4 is played by Katrina here.
bc4, this allows knight c4 to happen, and white's idea is to take the pawn on e7 and collect all these pawns. And the question is, like, after knight c4, rook to e7, is there knight a5 idea? with threat knight b3.
And what if I play bishop b2?
Yeah, I think I have to just trade that. Oh,
Right.
maybe, well, hold
You
on.
can
I can
take on
also take the
G2,
pawn on
right?
G2. Yeah,
You
yeah,
can still take on G2. Right. This idea could be there because the rook is gone from the 5th rank. Still, I can take here. Knight c4. Let's assume, I don't know if this is the strongest bishop. Wherever do you go? I mean, why does up a pawn? Not very clear. We don't really know, dear viewers, what the engine is saying here, but Lagnon definitely still has chances. She definitely still has chances here. Maybe there's even an e6 move, maybe there's rook takes on g2 move, so it's essentially battle of nerves. Who has the better control of their psychology here?
That's right. And the other thing, now at this point, maybe time will play a big role. So Katerina should try to speed up the moves and respond Tan Zhongyi's moves with a respond right away. There's also knight a4 move that probably Tan Zhongyi is considering right now. Knight a4, if you take rook a4, rook to c1, and we go to the rook endgame. We have 2 rooks on the in the end and double pawns for white.
And if I take here, I don't know, just maybe I could play something slower like king d. Wait, I'm not sure. Oh, wait, let's just take the pawn on a7. Maybe not on a7, maybe let's take on e7 so that you can't play e6 later.
Rook c.
Rook c3 and rook a7. No, this is some chances for white to play for the win. Unless there's a perpetual check.
I think there is a check here. Because like where you go, I don't touch my 4th rank rook. I will just give a check with the 2nd rook.
Okay, I mean, that's pretty insane. I don't think this is going to happen.
So nice, right? You just achieved drawing that.
No, knight a4 is the move, definitely. But you can't really make a mistake. You can't afford to make a mistake at the end of the line. I mean, calculated imprecisely. I mean, from the black's perspective, I'm talking about. Because if you do, that's it. The match is tied. And we are going to move on to the blitz section, where in the previous games, Katerina Lagnon has been demolishing Tan Zhongyi with incredible score. I mean, I'm even afraid to mention it. I said it's 9-2, but I read in the chat it's even higher.
It's higher?
Yeah, the 9-2. 9 points against 2 points. So Katerina has been doing really well against Tan Zhongyi in the past years. But we already discussed it before the match started, before the tiebreak started. None of this matters. I mean, all that matters, how do you feel exactly in this day?
No, we can obviously see that Tan Zhongyi is the one who is dominating in this mini match here of the 4 games so far. She was struggling only in the 3rd game where she was very close to lose. But the other games, we have to shout out to her good preparation and the skills to play really fast.
So, dear viewers, what do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be knight c4? Is it going to be knight a4? Is it going to be e6? Is it going to be some other move? There's so many moves. Knight e, okay, maybe not knight e7, because knight e7 I take on e7, but e6 is a move, knight c4 is a move, knight a4 is a move. Now, which one of these moves get black to the promised land, which is a draw?
I also like Artur rook to c7, which is a bit slow move, but you guard the pawn on e7, you don't drop this pawn on e7 and then a7. And your idea is that you're anyway getting back c4 or a4 pawn.
Rook c7. It makes sense. Also, you want to play, f6, king f7, protect the pawn on a7. Exactly, yeah. No, she plays knight x on c4. Very quickly responded.
And a5.
So that's a positional pawn sacrifice. I mean, it's quite amazing. So despite the fact that she only needs to draw, Tan Zhongyi positionally sacrifices the pawn and says, listen, my knight on c4 is worth a lot more than your pesky bishop on c1.
And I have a pin on the 1st rank. I don't know why I'm worse here.
Maybe she is not worse.
No, I don't think after all. Like, knight controls whole queen side. The pawn on a5 is well guarded. Knight is guarded. The rook is on the 1st rank. So I think like moves like h5 and then rook move, rook c6 makes a lot of sense to me.
Let's not forget about rook g2 threat as well.
That's right. Like you can even try for more.
Yeah, but here rook g2 maybe, depending on when you play, maybe not a good choice because I could trap your rook with something like king f1 or king f3. So it really depends what's going to be the move played by white. After bishop b2, probably black simply takes it and has an escape route with a rook to g5. She's not going to take on a1. Although, really, you know, Keti, I would love to take on a1 and say, haha, to your bishop on a1, it's not doing a thing there. But still, I mean, white is up a pawn.
Yeah, and some ideas like rook b8, rook b1 would be great, but it's just not time to win this bishop.
All right.
3 minutes for Katarina.
Moment of truth here for Katarina. King f3? Can she afford to play so slowly? I mean, for
I don't know, it drops knight d2 check, at very least that there's this check that knight d3
goodness.
and knight b3. Yeah.
Okay, she can't do that. What about g3 here?
Yeah, probably g3, g3, h4, this kind of setup.
But that feels incredibly slow, right? She has to win this game on demand. It doesn't look like she's going to do it right now. Rook e4.
Rook e4. So she wants to play king d3 and kick the knight.
Wait, can I just take the pawn on g2? It's a free pawn. Let's take it.
Is it? Because after king f1?
I don't know. King f1, rook h2. Could I do this?
Yeah, okay, h3.
Yeah, I take on h3, I escape. There could be, of course, a longer sequence, but I don't see how this rook is trapped, to be honest. I think rook x on g2 can be played, and you can see Tan Zhongyi as like, oh, I think this pawn is for free.
That's a funny move. Bishop f4 here. With idea king f3.
Oh, nice. And she indeed doesn't fall in this trap and plays h5 instead.
h5.
That is against bishop h6 in some distant future. You never know. You never know. You might have some space for the king to escape it, not allowed to deliver some checkmate ideas.
Interesting. I don't know what happens after king to d3. If I want to play king d3, king c2.
Maybe I can just repeat the position. King d3, give you a check.
King c2?
No, not going to happen. Okay, let's focus what's on the board. g4 is played. H takes is played. H takes. This is played very quickly. So at least white will have not to worry about the pawn on g2. And what makes it interesting, Keti, white still is up a pawn. I mean, it's still there. You might say a lot of bad things about the pawn on c3 and the terrible bishop on c1, but it's still a pawn. It's still there. And if somehow white managed to activate his pieces, the bishop c1 might as well decide the fate of the game.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that black has to find some like pass move, like some way rook h1, rook g1 or something like this. Just ask the opponent like how you're going to win if I don't do anything.
Maybe there's the idea to meet king d3 with rook takes on g4, take it and knight e5 fork. But again, you need to make a move first. You need to make a move. Something like maybe king g7, you draw bishop h6 check, you lose the rook on g1. You can't do that. Maybe some quiet move like f6, like rook c5, rook c7, it's difficult to tell.
Yeah, in that case, you give up the back rank. However, I think you can still afford to lose the control over back rank at this position.
What about f5? Trying to trade a pawn? I mean, the less pawns on the board, the better, right? Not really sure.
That.
Maybe
F5
black.
I like very much to trade this pawn, but we wanted to implement this trap rook g4 knight e5 after king d3.
Very, very difficult to play out this position correctly, especially when you've had a long day before you, right? Remember, they had this roller coaster game 3 where both of the players had excellent winning chances. Katarina Lagno was first absolutely winning this game, and now she has her chance to try to level the scores again, because again, the score in the match in the tiebreaks is 2-1. Tan Zhongyi leads. Things are really simple. Katarina Lagno has to win this game on demand.
That's right, and the time situation here is the better for Tan Zhongyi. However, she's now getting very close on the clock to Katarina Lagno, 4 minutes 20 seconds. For black, indeed, there is nothing to worry here. For black, the position seems to be fine, but she has to make a move. And sometimes to make a move, to find the pass move is very hard.
Yeah, because it's difficult to tell. Should you make an active move? Should you make a waiting move? Because if you wait too much, maybe it's going to allow white to regroup. Maybe for engines, it's really simple here. Engines could be saying 0-0, etc., right? But still, a human being has to make this move.
That's right.
And that's what Tanjaki is thinking.
Artur, there is 96 idea to kick this rook from e5 and then to give a check rook e8. But unless you calculate that well, you probably don't want to change anything because black's pieces are extremely active. She goes f6.
I love that because it was my suggestion. I saw this move. I'm not even sure what it does. I guess the idea is to bring the king closer just in case. Also, probably a move that Katerina didn't expect. Must be the idea of king d3, rook takes on g4. I mean, this has got to be. This has got to be the idea because after king d3, I mean, maybe there's some
95 check. So
wait, there's
have
95 check.
Yeah, you have a 5 square secured for your knight.
Okay, it's
How
simpler
deep
than that.
f6 move is actually. It's so like multiple optional move here. Like you also free the f7 square for the king. Maybe you want to centralize your king. You're waiting. You want this knight f5 even now. Like why I don't play knight e5 even now?
What about bishop b2 here?
And take on g4.
And she does it. Bishop b2 is on the board.
And bishop
So you-
e2 here, right?
You have to include this guy in the game at some point. I'm thinking that this trade probably favors white, right? Because if there's a trade, king d3, activate the king. If white manages to play c4, this bishop is going to come to life very quickly. Like Phoenix from the ashes, really.
Wait. Can we move the rook somewhere to keep the bishop on
Yeah,
b2?
but rook g2
hanging?
is pretty sad, right? I mean, it's not doing anything there. I guess you have to do this. Wait. Rook
Why not
g2
rook
looks
g2?
wrong.
Yeah, rook g2. And well, the bishop is hanging. If you play bishop a1, you don't want to play bishop c1, no way. And then knight e5.
Okay, what if I attack your rook?
You attack my rook, I attack your rook with knight e2.
Yeah, but take.
No kidding, I don't do that.
Okay, doesn't matter. Those are funny lines. Bishop b2, rook a1, bishop a1 is on the board. Rooks are gone. And now king f7 here. Black activates the king here.
King f7, yeah, on the light squares now, and to avoid all kind of checks. This makes a lot of sense.
There could be a move f4, king d3 to stop knight e5 check.
Oh, Artur, maybe instead of king f7, g5 to stop your f4 move happening?
You mean you're saying that king f7 is a mistake?
No. There was an option here to play g5 first to make sure
Oh.
that the pawn structure is fixed there.
Maybe. Maybe king f7 was not very precise, so white very quickly plays king d3, knight e5 check, king c2, and brings the king closer to the queen side so that the bishop on a1 can join the game finally. White is pressing this for the win, definitely. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, even if the engine is saying it's nothing, I mean, white is still up a pawn, the bishop on a1 could join the game, and black could just make one mistake, something like, let's say, play whatever. I mean, rook h8. c4, there you go. The bishop is in the game. The game can
Right.
change so quickly. So you need to watch out for this move. And
You have
that's
to
why
keep
knight
this
goes.
knight on c4 for sure, and the rook on c8. Rook to d4 has been played here with white.
The idea must be to play king b3. Otherwise, there could be a nasty fork on d2. How do you stop king b3?
Yeah, that's a valid question. King e6 has been played here, and king b3 blitzed out by Katerina Lachno. Knight on c4 is hanging, and probably knight d6. That allows c4 to happen.
Yeah, and there could be counterattack with rook b8, rook b4. Again, let's see where Tanjaki is going to position her knight. So she plays
Knight
knight
e5.
e5. Yeah.
Well, after f4, the g4 pawn is hanging, and you are just going to take this pawn.
Maybe bishop b2. Maybe bishop b2 is the move to play. Otherwise, this poor guy hasn't been doing anything for most of the game. c4 might be a bit early because rook b8, rook b4, the pawns on c4 and a4 are under attack. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Bishop b2 is
b2 is
played.
on the board.
Slowly but carefully, Lagno is building her winning chances here. I mean, she's still up a pawn. The game is still not over.
No, not at all. But here's a question: like, if I just keep my rook and the knight on controlling c4 square, how you're going to improve. That's the question that Lachno has to answer. And meanwhile, Tanjonki plays f5 to trade another pawn on the king side.
All right, the pawns are gone. Bishop c1, and there you go. Now, what is simply having up a pawn? And the patience of Katerina Lagno has paid off, right? She entered this position. It seemed that black has incredible compensation. Probably she had, but very careful maneuvering, cold-blooded calculation allowed Katerina to keep the pawn and have some chances to win this position in endgame. Actually, I think they're pretty good because, I mean, the pawn is a pawn. Tanjonki is trying to trade off as many pawns as she can, but that's it. She's not going to trade anymore.
f3, attacking the knight. Knight has to go back on e5 to keep the pressure on f-pawn, played by Tanjonki, and f4 now wins some tempo.
95. Bishop f4. Look at that. The positional pawn sacrifice. So Lagno goes for the activity. Remember this guy on a1, right? Now it's going to be very active. Take it. Rook d6. King goes or wherever it goes. Rook here. I guess this is the idea here. And for Lagno, this is the last chance to win the game because the f-pawn is blocked. And if white
Rook
gets the
c5 is more accurate, I think, because you stop rook c5 happening.
Oh, you mean here? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's even stronger. But this allows black... Oh, do we want to play something as passive as rook a8? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Probably not.
This is a new game with extra pawn on the queen side and bishop versus knight.
So that's why maybe black is going to allow to take on e5, but maybe the rook king game is lost. So incredibly difficult to make a decision here.
Interesting moment indeed. Beautiful sacrifice by Katerina Lagno, and she found a way to improve the bishop now, and this bishop will be very, very tough if all the game goes on the queen side with extra pawn for white. It's not easy draw for black to make.
No, it's not easy at all. So I would actually say that this is looking really good for Lagno. And the more time spent Tanjonki, the more nervous she's going to become. And at the moment, this is actually looking like that Katerina might have some chances to equalize the match. I mean, the patience definitely has paid off here. So knight f3 probably has to be played because I think that black has to eliminate those pawns. Good practical choice. There you go. Knight f3, rook d6, and I think rook d5 is to follow. But the question is what black is going to do after rook d5.
Both pawns on a5 and f5 are hanging, and you have to choose which pawn to give up. It's more natural way to give up f-pawn and keep a pawn on the board. But we have to mention that the knight on f3 is totally misplaced, out of the game, and has really few choices. Like I see that there's like only g1 and h4, not even h4 square, only g1 square now at the moment open for the knight, which means that the bishop and the knight change the positions.
Wait a second. Did she have here rook d3? Okay, rook d3 doesn't trap the knight, right? It could be knight g1. Wait, but this knight is trapped, no? Just a second. What's this?
Doesn't look good. Rook g3.
Wait. Doesn't it trap it? Okay, it doesn't matter really. We have no time to check it, but maybe this knight was somehow getting trapped. Now, the a-pawn is gone, and this starts to look like very close to technical win. Yeah, I have a feeling this knight was getting trapped, right? But you have no time to calculate that, and Katerina already had made up her mind. She wants to go after the pawn on a5, and there you go. Rook a6. A-pawn is advancing with the help of the rook and the bishop. This already starts to look like very close to technically winning position. Powerful performance by Katerina.
That's right. She was just waiting and making very patient moves. And as a result, now we're going to have this endgame. F1 is blocked by the bishop. Knight is out there too far from the game. Maybe it's time to play knight d3, knight c5 next move to create some pressure. And is there a chance to make a draw in the rook endgame? That's also the question. However, black's king is way too far from the queen side.
All right. Yeah, the chat is saying indeed rook d3 was probably winning on the spot, but you can't blame Katerina, right? Because I don't think this was the original plan. Let me go very quickly here to show this idea. Here, after king e7, there was this chance to play rook d3 because knight h4 drops the knight here, and after knight g1, somehow I have a feeling this knight is going to be
rook
gone.
rook g3 attacking the knight, and rook knight e2, rook e3, you win.
Oh my goodness, just play rook g3 and there you go. The game would have been already sealed in favor for Lagno. She missed that and now she has to work on that. Rook d6, great restricting move.
Yeah, seconds on the clock. Things like this happen when you have one plan already made up. You don't look for the next one. Katerina Lachno's plan was to get the pawn on a5 to create a pass pawn on a file 2, which makes a lot of sense here. And white is obviously having big advantage.
I think it's winning. I think it's simply winning. Let's call it what it is. I think it's simply winning because the a-pawn is so far away from the black king. And it's a good thing, actually, that Katerina doesn't know that she had this chance to trap the knight, right? That was a moment. She quickly walked past it. If she would know, she could have won the game on the spot like a couple of months ago. That would be terrible.
Then when all the bad thoughts start to come in your head and you are not focused on the game, but you are then thinking what could be done better.
The game is still not over. We're reaching the critical moment of the rapid time section here. Rook c8 is played. The players are down on the clock. 23 seconds for black, 30 seconds for Katerina Lagno. Crucial moment of the game. Can Lagno strike back and secure a tie in this very exciting tiebreaks? Let's just watch this. Let's just watch this. Enjoy this. Chat says +3. Yeah, it feels it's winning. It feels it's winning, definitely.
15 seconds. Also, the time is very important here. Both of the players have the equal time on the clock. They are equally struggling, but white is indeed in a better situation. The extra pawn and active pieces. Knight in this position, we can see how bad piece it is to be from out all the play. Black is giving some checks here.
Lagno is down on 10 seconds. She already won move with 5 seconds on the clock. And here you can see that Tanjaki is trying to increase the pressure here. Rook c8 check. Again, we have a dramatic moment. King d4, rook a8. How do you protect the pawn on a4? Did Lagno just blunder this pawn on a4?
6 seconds on the clock.
5 seconds.
4. Whoa, she made a move on 3 seconds. Wait, can I give a check now? Rook a5. For the moment, I'm guarding the pawn on f5.
Oh my gosh, she blundered this knight d3 check here. There's no choice. She has to go back here.
Whoa. That means
d5,
that black can take a4 pawn with a check.
And now she just takes the pawn on a4, giving black excellent drawing chances. This might be the end of the actual match. I mean, still, of course, white is playing this for the win because she has the bishop and the chance to promote this pawn. Are we going to see the infamous rook and bishop versus rook here?
That's a very fun question, and also the position with the seconds on the clock, anything can happen in that type of position. Tanjongi just captured the pawn c4, now is on the board, and knight to f3 check.
Knight f3 check, king d5. This game is still not over. Apparently, Katerina missed this very nasty check on the fork on d3, but still, she is playing this for the win because the c pawn is running forward again. She feels she missed it. She feels she was very close to win this. Still, the game is not over yet. By the way, c5 is impossible. The bishop on f4 is hanging.
That's right, and we can't play with this knight because knight is out of play. How are we gonna get this knight into the game? Knight e1, that answers our question. Knight e1, the plan is to play knight d3 or knight c2 to get closer to the c-pawn. In some case, if black needs, black can sacrifice the knight for the pawn.
The clock is ticking. The black rook is in front of the clock. I don't see how much time Katerina has here. It must be something like 15 seconds.
Oh, king c5 is not a blunder. Knight d3 is nothing. Knight g2 attacking the bishop, and Tanjongi wants to push the f-pawn. King b5, intermediate move.
Can you play rook takes on c4 here? Wait, can you liquidate this? She misses this. I mean, actually, I think there was already a draw on the board. Rook takes on c4, king c4, knight f4. This would allow here Tanjongi to liquidate immediately into a draw. The nerves. She also plays rook a2, missed an opportunity immediately to fix a draw on the board because rook against the knight is a theoretical draw. The game continues.
The game continues. Bishop g5. Now the idea is rook f6, rook f5. Black can play f6 e4 here, black can give a check on b2. Those are two options Tan Zhongyi has, and she has to figure it out in seconds, these moves. Check.
Yeah, and the
Oh, no,
clock
she's
is
not sure.
ticking mercilessly here. 13 seconds for Tan Zhongyi. Rook b2 check. Of course, you're tempted to give checks, but this only advances the white king closer and allowed to promote the c-pawn. I would still say the Lucknow still has good winning chances here. 3 seconds.
Wait, what? Tan Zhongyi wanted to play king g6 or something? Oh, king g7.
King
Okay.
g7. I mean, she noticed there's a check on f6, and that's why she... King g7, yeah, there's this fork, and that's why she gave a check first. Now f4, again we have a pawn race. f3, which pawn is going to be faster? c6,
That's the
f3.
question.
Deja vu again. We've been here. You were here last game.
True. But black has these options also to give a checks with the king. When a pawn goes on c7, are you going to give a check? Or first you can play f2. Play f2
Wait.
first.
I cannot sacrifice on c7, right? I thought
No.
takes, rook d1, f2 knight e1 ideas, but of course you can hallucinate very quickly, so c7 is played. Both pawns are about to advance.
F2 should be played here to...
f2 should be
shorten.
played. Right. It is on the board.
And Artur, what happens after rook d1, knight e1?
Rook d1, knight e1. Well, black wins. That's what happens. I guess you have to play rook f6. Rook f6 and somebody wins this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the white is winning here. Wait a second.
King just... no. Oh my god, I also started to...
Rook f6 has to be the move, right? Rook f6
That's right.
and black is going to run out of moves because rook takes on f2 is a threat.
And then
I want to promote.
knight e3. After rook f6, knight f3, Artur. Knight e3, sorry.
Wow. Rook f6, knight e3, 10 seconds for Katerina Lagno. She has to make a decision, otherwise she's going to
9,
forfeit
7
and lose the
seconds.
match.
6.
5. Rook f6,
Knight
knight e3.
e3. Wow, Tan Zhongyi is very fast. And this is the move Katerina can not.
95 check is such a nasty trick. 5 seconds, 3 seconds.
3.
You have to make a move. King b7, and this is leading to a draw. That's it. Tan Zhongyi is going to make a draw in this game, and she resigns or it's a draw. Doesn't matter.
And we
What
have
a-
here a heavy breath from Tan Zhongyi, who dominated the match against Katerina Lagno. She won the first game. She won the last game. It's not a one. It's actually a draw, which is enough for the match.
I'm not even sure what is the official result here. Maybe that's resignation. Maybe that's a draw. It doesn't matter. No, it seems to be a draw on the board. So let's congratulate Tan Zhongyi.
They were confused, Artur, actually. Tan Zhongyi was very much confused because in the end, the result still matters. It's a draw, it's a win. The rating points are there, but makes a lot of sense that Katerina Lagno just stormed out from the room because it was so much tense for her. This day was the day that she will not forget for a long time.
She will definitely not forget it, Keti, because if we go back, I guess we're going to check it a bit later, but here you see, this is the final result of the tie breaks, dear viewers. Tan Zhongyi wins Katerina Lagno in a very thrilling tiebreak match. You couldn't have written a better script for today, and yet all of this happened here live from Khiva, Uzbekistan. Tan Zhongyi beats Katerina Lagno and advances to the next stage of the Women Candidates Tournament, Pool B, where she's going to meet Alexandra Goryachkina in a next match of 4 classical games, which is going to start today, Sunday. They're going to play on Tuesday.
That's right. Again, they're going to have a day off after this match. Definitely Tan Zhongyi deserves to have some day off. We see a perfect preparation of Tan Zhongyi in the tie breaks. And Artur, remember we were talking about yesterday about who benefits to go to the tie breaks, and we were considering Lagno to be absolute favorite because she had most of the wins in the tie breaks. She has all these titles you can earn with the short time control world championships. But seems like Tan Zhongyi is a perfect shape. She's well prepared. She has a lot of openings, and she can change all of these move game by game. And she's extremely fast. Like, she's so fast that most of the game she had double time on the clock.
Right. Actually, Keti, if you would go back, if you would give us a final look at the final position, apparently it's winning for black, because I also noticed there's one thing. If he can have the board After here, king takes on c7, which of course didn't happen because Katerina Lagno lost her chances. Can we have a board, please?
Oh.
Here we go. There's 95 check. Right? And the black simply wins. It doesn't really matter, right? Because Tan Zhangqi already won the match by making a draw, and maybe it was a draw agreement. I don't really know, but this wins. And if white doesn't take it, there's rook f7. So actually black wins. And this f-pawn advances, but doesn't even...
Well, wait, there's also knight d5 right away.
Oh, wait,
so king b6.
Okay, maybe there's king b8.
Oh,
but
whoa!
This is insane.
That's a bit of interesting situation. That's why Tan Zhangqi didn't understand what happened.
And we have to go back, Keti. I mean, where was this moment, this critical moment here, where Katerina slowly outplayed her opponent? Here, she was winning the game on the spot. If she had played rook d3, trapping this knight, knight h4, bishop g5, knight e1, rook e3, knight h2 is impossible. And after knight g1, you just attack this guy here, and that's it. The game is done.
Yeah, 92, 93, you win the piece anyway, and this is obviously way easier to win. As the a7 pawn, a5 pawn is a dark square, you can definitely take that with the bishop or just push the pawn. Whoa. There was, and also in the end, this pawn push was done by Tan Zhangqi really nicely. She prepared all of this with king g7 first, knight g2, and then she started to push the pawn forward. We have to give a big shout out to both of the players to have incredible match. We have seen great play from both players. Let's not forget the game that Katerina Lagno played in the round 3, where she totally outplayed with black pieces Tan Zhangqi, and then with a little bit inaccuracy, and then with a blunder on d3, she ruined her chances to win the game. But Tan Zhangqi was shining today in these games. First game and the last game was very nicely done by her.
Who can only know how the match would have ended if Lagno had taken the rook in game 3, right? This knight takes on h1. I mean, such a heartbreaker. I think that this is going to haunt Lagno for quite a while. These missed opportunities, but still, I mean, for us, for viewers, for commentators, Keti and me, this was really a very exciting match to watch. And somebody loses, somebody has to win, and that's what chess is all about.
How it
exciting
works.
Day.
That's right. And before we go and call it a day, there is one thing that I can remember, that Tan Zhangqi won the World Championship title from this cycle where she was playing 2 games of classical chess, and then if there was a tie, then she was playing in the tiebreak. So she has been through this way already, and seems like once it worked for her, and we can see why it worked for her, because she's amazingly fast in the rapid. We have not seen blitz today because she won the match, and we never went to the blitz portion, but I would love to see these 2 players in the blitz segment as well. That's so interesting and intriguing situation. But that's the story of a different tournament and different time. It's time for us to thank to our viewers who were hanging out with us all this time and had the part of the excitement. And thank you, Arturs, so much to be so amazing co-commentator.
Thank you, Keti. It was an absolute pleasure. I mean, we are just really enjoying the show as spectators, not really as commentators. I would like to remind everybody that the broadcast is going to continue Tuesday. And the time is pretty much the same every single day. On Tuesday, we are going to be back 11 a.m. Central European time. I mean, you can calculate, obviously, what does it mean for your time zone. Don't go anywhere. Come back on Tuesday. Be back for the very exciting game 1 of classical section between the winner of today, Tan Zhangqi, against Alexandra Goryachkina, who is going to determine the final of the candidates tournament, who is the challenger of the Pool A winner, Plating G.
That's right. So guys, it is our final goodbye. Make sure you come back on Tuesday, same place and same time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.